One moment Su Feng was on Earth. The next, a truck hit him and everything went dark. He didn't die. Or rather, he did. But then he woke up somewhere else entirely. His body was numb, his arms and legs barely moving, and he was being carried over someone's shoulder like a bag of rice. Every step the man took jolted him hard enough to make drool run down his chin. Before he could even make sense of what was happening, something exploded inside his head, a huge wave of broken memories not his own, rushing into every part of his mind. Profound spirit continent, Wudang City, a world where the strong rule and the weak get crushed into dust. He had been sent to another world. He now had the body of a young man who shared his name, Su Feng, a dead young man, and had somehow come back to life inside it. The memories kept flooding in, slowly painting a picture that made his stomach sink. That Su Feng had a rare bloodline hidden even from himself, called the Pure Moon Azure Lotus. Someone had found out about it before he did. That someone was a young woman named Shangyuan Yuer. She had spent months working her way into that young man's life, pretending to be hurt, pretending to be saved by him, pretending to fall in love. She paid a huge price to make it look real, almost all the way to the very end. And the moment she got what she wanted, the warmth in her eyes disappeared like smoke. She didn't want a quick death for that Su Feng. She wanted something worse. So she sent a servant named Fan Man to carry him deep into the forest outside Wudang City and feed him alive to the vicious beasts. Which was exactly what was happening right now. Su Feng had been in this world for less than 1 minute, and he was already going to die. I'm really screwed, he thought, the cold truth of it pressing down on him like a stone. The body he now had was almost completely weak. The bloodline had been pulled out of it, leaving it with nothing. Running wasn't an option. Fighting back wasn't an option. Even yelling for help felt pointless. And then a sound rang out in his head that changed everything. Ding! Detecting perfect fusion of target's soul and body. One-click cultivation system binding initiated. A see-through panel appeared in front of his eyes, with a light blue loading bar already shooting forward. 1%, 1256. Su Feng stared at it, too shocked to speak, and then, even though he was being carried to his death through a forest by a sneering stranger, he accidentally laughed out loud. Fan Man shot him a cold look over his shoulder. Going mad already. You're about to die and you're laughing. Su Feng said nothing. He was too busy watching the bar hit 100%. Ding! One-click cultivation system has been bound. He quickly went through what he knew about this world from the memories he'd been given. Warriors here trained by taking in spiritual qi, the invisible energy that filled the air, to make their bodies stronger and push into higher levels. The levels went from martial apprentice, all the way up through martial artist, martial master, martial spirit, martial ancestor, martial venerable. And beyond. Each one let people do things that seemed impossible, splitting mountains, turning rivers, even reaching up and pulling stars from the sky. Even the lowest level, a brand new martial apprentice, was over 10 times stronger than a normal person. Right now, Su Feng was weaker than a normal person. He had no bloodline, no training method, no spiritual qi, and no strength at all. But he had a system. The system explained itself fast. It was called the one-click cultivation system, and it worked differently from anything Su Feng had ever read about. Even in the novels he used to read back on Earth. Instead of giving him one single power, it had a whole list of features, each one that could be unlocked by spending a currency the system accepted. Right now, he could unlock the basic one-click cultivation feature. The price, 1 gold coin. The body he now had came with 5 gold coins, gifts from Shangyuan Yuer during her months of fake love. Su Feng didn't wait even a second. System, unlock the one-click cultivation function. Ding, using 1 gold coin, one-click cultivation function unlocked, now at level 1. Training speed 2 times normal speed. What came next was a flood of alerts that nearly knocked him sideways. The cultivation pool had been opened. A training method gift pack had been given. A first unlock gift pack had been given. Top grade talent received. Main training method, the Supreme Profound Beginningless Art, Volume 1, received and loaded. Extra features, infinite storage space, language and text understanding, and fund deposit and conversion received. Then the dizzy feeling hit him, and a tearing pain ran through every single cell in his body at once. It ended before he could even cry out. And when it was over, something amazing showed up in his mind. A huge white space, empty except for a small light blue pool in the middle. Inside that pool sat a tiny figure in white robes, holding a golden book, sitting still with legs crossed. Su Feng understood right away. That figure was him, and it was about to get to work. He gave the order. System, activate the one-click cultivation function. The moment he did, the figure in the pool started moving, running the supreme, profound, beginningless art with the steady focus of a machine. A strange pulling force came off Su Feng's body, drawing in the spiritual qi floating through the air. It passed through him into the white space, where the figure turned it into cultivation points, tiny golden dots of light like fireflies, floating down to the bottom of the pool. The bottom was already turning gold. Wow, Su Feng breathed quietly. This speed is insane. Then something else happened. A warm wave stirred deep inside him, rising up from somewhere in his body. Leftover spirit medicine that the young man he'd taken over had secretly eaten years ago, back when he worked as a herb-gathering boy. Medicine his body had held onto without knowing. Now the system turned that into points too, and the pool filled past halfway in an instant. Su Feng's chest tightened as the full weight of those memories hit him. The herb-gathering boys of 100 Herbs Hall. The work targets, the beatings, the cruelty. The leak of the pure moon azure lotus bloodline, almost surely coming from someone inside that hall. That young man had suffered for years, under Shangyuan Yuer, under 100 Herbs Hall. Under people who looked right through him like he was nothing. Rest easy, Su Feng said quietly in his head. Since I'm in your body now, I'll deal with it, every single one of them. But first, he needed to stay alive for the next few minutes. Fan Man's voice cut through the trees. Finally, I can see Red Leaf Valley. The valley was still a good distance away. Enough time, probably, for the pool to fill. And then Fan Man did something Su Feng didn't expect. He stopped walking, a cruel look in his eyes, and said feeding Su Feng to the vicious beasts wasn't quite fun enough. He wanted to enjoy this himself first. With that, he threw Su Feng onto the ground like a bag of trash. What? Su Feng thought, his head spinning. You said we'd do this in the valley. The body still had almost no spiritual qi. He couldn't fight, he couldn't run. The cultivation points were building up in the pool, but hadn't hit the level needed for a breakthrough yet. He needed to buy time. Stop, Su Feng shouted. I have spirit medicine hidden, let's make a deal. Fan Man laughed. He knew exactly how worthless that young man had been. He saw through the lie right away, and his answer was to curl his fingers like claws and drag them hard across Su Feng's body, leaving sharp pain even through the numbness. So Su Feng changed his plan. He started talking trash. Told Fan Man to hit harder, told him he hit like he hadn't eaten. Pushed him on purpose. It worked perfectly. Fan Man's pride kept him mean but careful. He didn't want to kill Su Feng too fast. He wanted to enjoy it. And every cruel minute he took was a minute the pool crept closer to full. Su Feng screamed when the pain was real. He screamed loud. Fan Man loved every second of it. By the time Fan Man popped Su Feng's forearm out of its socket, the pain was so bad it was blinding. But somewhere under it, Su Feng was watching something much more important. And then the alert came. Ding, the cultivation pool is full. Do you wish to break through? Yes, now break through. The golden glow in the pool vanished, pouring into Su Feng's body instead. It rushed into the heart meridian, forcing it open with a force that couldn't be stopped, filling him with spiritual qi that healed his wounds and brought feeling back to his arms and legs all at once. A small pulse went through his body, barely noticeable, but it changed everything. He was no longer a normal person. He was a low-level martial apprentice, a real warrior. And the power of it, the raw, new electric feeling of spiritual qi filling his muscles and bones, made him feel like he could punch an elephant to death with one hand. Fan Man still hadn't noticed. Normal people couldn't feel spiritual chi unless they sat and focused. He was still smiling. He stopped smiling when Su Feng grabbed his arm, broke free, stood up, and slapped him across the face with everything a martial apprentice had. The sound echoed through the trees like a crack of thunder. Fan Man flew 5 meters and crashed into the bushes, his face twisted to one side, hands flying to his cheek as he cried out in shock and confusion. He got back to his feet, trying to understand how a normal person, a bloodline-stripped, beaten, half-dead normal person, had just hit him hard enough to make his whole skull ring. He still didn't get it as Su Feng came at him again. There was no plan this time. Just anger. Su Feng's fist hit Fan Man across both arms, bones snapping at once, blood bursting from the breaks. Then a kick to the most painful spot on a man's body, then a rock from the ground brought down on his feet, then his knees. Fan Man screamed through all of it, begging, pleading, calling out Shangyuan Yuer's name, calling out the Shangyuan family. Su Feng didn't stop. "The Shangyuan family won't let me off," he said, picking up another rock. "I won't let the Shangyuan family off either." When Fan Man had nothing left, no strength, no fight, just begging eyes, Su Feng grabbed him by the hair and dragged him the rest of the way to Red Leaf Valley. The moment Fan Man hit the valley floor, the bloodthirsty locusts came alive. Huge, blood-red, and swarming by the thousands, they poured off the red plants and covered him completely. The screaming that followed was something Su Feng would not forget for a long time. He didn't stay to watch, there was no time. The Shangyuan family's people were still back in Wudong City, Kai Deng, 2 martial apprentice guards, and much more dangerous people beyond them. There was an old man whose strength had never been tested, not by anyone who lived to talk about it. There was Shangyuan Yuer herself, now carrying the stolen bloodline. And there was all of 100 Herbs Hall, with a martial master in charge and a whole spy network ready to move. Going back to the city right now would be death. But leaving Wudong City was almost as bad. The roads outside the walls were full of dangers Su Feng couldn't handle yet. The only choice was to disappear, hide, get stronger. The other Su Feng had spent years picking herbs in these mountains. He knew every path, every cliff, every hidden spot. One of those memories came up now, a cave on the side of a cliff, small, hidden, known only to him. Su Feng headed for it. On the way, he searched Fan Man's coin pouch. Gold, silver, copper. 16 gold coins total, added to the 5 he already had that made 20. He smiled for the first time since arriving in this world. System, upgrade the one-click cultivation function. Ding, using 10 gold coins. One-click cultivation function upgraded to level 2. Training speed now 4 times normal speed. The pulling force doubled right away. The spiritual chi rushing into the pool shot forward, so fast it was almost something you could see. In the white space, the little white-robed figure moved twice as quick, sending golden light pouring into the pool at a rate that made Su Feng grin. He also checked the 3 extra features he'd gotten when he first unlocked the system. The fund deposit and conversion feature let him store gold safely inside the system. No heavy coin pouches, no chance of losing it, no fees. He put in his last 10 gold coins right away, and a line of golden text showed up above the pool. Unit, gold coin. Balance 10. Infinite storage space was exactly what it sounded like. Objects, plants, materials with life energy in them. Anything he could hold and move himself could be stored and taken out whenever he wanted. And language and text understanding had already been running from the moment he arrived. That was why he'd been able to speak and understand everything perfectly from the very first second, without any confusion. In the future, no language or writing would ever be a problem for him. Su Feng took a quiet moment to just be amazed at his own luck, and then he found the cave. Getting there wasn't pretty. The opening was on the side of a cliff, 100 zhang below the top, hidden in mountain mist. He had to climb down on vines, hands sweating, with a drop below him far enough to kill anyone below martial master level. But he made it. The cave was small, 7 or 8 square meters, but clean and dry just as it had been left. No water inside, no food, but safe from the wind with enough light to see. Su Feng sat with his legs crossed and closed his eyes. Inside the white space, The pool was already almost full again. The system had been running the whole time, through the torture, through the fight, through the run through the forest. And now the numbers were hard to believe. Tianjing, the son of the city lord of Wudong City, and a high-grade talent with expensive spirit medicine to help him, had taken 10 full days to go from low-level to intermediate martial apprentice. Su Feng was about to do it in about 1 hour. 240 times faster, and that was with the system's boost. His base training speed alone, before any upgrades, was 60 times faster than a high-grade talent. He barely had time to take in how crazy that was before the next alert came. Ding, the cultivation pool is full. Do you wish to break through? He broke through to intermediate martial apprentice without a second thought. The cultivation points flooded into his body, blasting open the lung meridian, spleen meridian, and liver meridian all at once, adding them to the already open heart meridian. 4 of the 9 energy channels of the martial apprentice level now flowing with spiritual chi. The strength that filled him was 4 or 5 times what he'd felt before the breakthrough. He threw a test punch at the cave wall just to see, and the stone cracked. He stared at the crack. If I reach even higher levels. He let the thought go and grinned. Hunger brought him back to reality. Warriors in the lower levels couldn't live on spiritual chi alone. They needed food, and a lot of it, more than a normal person. Su Feng's stomach had been making louder and louder noise, and he finally had to do something about it. He climbed back up to the top of the cliff and walked toward the sound of a stream. He never made it there. A 2-meter shape stepped out from the trees ahead, huge, shaggy, with red eyes that glowed like hot coals. A red-eyed bear. First-order intermediate level, as strong as an intermediate martial apprentice, and one of the most dangerous, vicious beasts in these hills. It had been pulled in by the smell of blood still on Su Feng. He picked up a sharp stone and tried to slowly back away. Without any fighting techniques, going head-on against a vicious beast was risky no matter how big the level gap was. Animals that grew up fighting knew how to use their bodies in ways trained humans didn't. Then the system spoke again. Ding! The cultivation pool is full. Do you wish to break through? Su Feng's eyes lit up. Yes. The cultivation points surged in, blasting open the kidney meridian and arm meridian. 6 channels now, fully in the advanced martial apprentice level. The power that rushed through him was something else completely. He could feel it in his bones, his muscles, the speed of his blood. The red-eyed bear felt it too. Its charge slowed a little. Something in its gut told it to be careful. Too late. From the bushes nearby came 2 sudden gasps. Chai Jai and Ding Jiang, the 2 low-level martial apprentice guards from the Shangyuan family, had followed the blood smell and found him. They looked through the leaves, expecting to see a normal person about to get eaten alive. What they saw instead was Su Feng meeting their eyes for one brief second, then turning, launching into a run, and charging at the red-eyed bear head-on with his fist. The sound hit both of them like a punch. A huge crash, like a hammer hitting a giant drum. Then the splash of water, then the pained, broken roar of a vicious beast. When the water settled, the red-eyed bear was on its side in the stream, blood pouring from its face, thrashing and howling. Su Feng stood over it calm and picked up the biggest rock he could find. Chai Jai and Ding Jiang's mouths were still hanging open. They couldn't move, they couldn't speak. They were trying to match what they knew, that Su Feng was a normal person, that his bloodline had been taken, that he shouldn't be able to do anything with what they were looking at. Advanced martial apprentice. He had gone from normal person to advanced martial apprentice in less than 1 day. Before they could speak, before they could run, Su Feng looked right at them through the trees. You've come at just the right time. They ran. They were low-level martial apprentices. Su Feng was advanced. The gap in speed made it embarrassing. He was almost on them right away, and when Chai Jai made a brave but very stupid choice to stop and fight, to give Ding Jiang time to run. He only lasted 1 hit. His arm broke against Su Feng's punch. The next hit caved in his chest. He was dead before he hit the ground. Ding Jiang almost made it to the tree line. 50 meters, 20, 10. And then Su Feng was standing in front of him. Ding Jiang dropped to his knees right away, crying and begging, swearing he'd been forced into it, swearing he'd once done Su Feng a favor, saying anything he could think of. Su Feng listened quietly. Then he said very calmly that he knew about the deal with 100 Herbs Hall. He knew it had all been an act. Ding Jiang's face, the flash of guilt, the panicked rambling, said everything. What followed was not quick. Su Feng had promised that all debts would be paid back 10 times over, 100 times over. He was keeping that promise, one broken bone at a time, until Ding Jiang's threats turned to begging, and his begging turned to silence. When it was over, Su Feng searched both bodies carefully. More gold coins, more silver. And then, shining at the bottom of the pouch, 2 spirit coins, smooth and green like jade, holding a faint trace of spiritual qi. Spirit coins, each one worth 100 gold. And above those were spirit stones, natural crystals full of spiritual qi, split into low grade, middle grade, high grade, and extreme grade. Each low-grade stone worth 100 spirit coins. He didn't have any of those yet, but the spirit coins were a start. System, deposit, everything. Ding, deposit done. Balance, 266 gold coins. He didn't wait. Upgrade the one-click cultivation function. Ding, using 100 gold coins. One-click cultivation function upgraded to level 3. Training speed now 8 times normal speed. Ding, congratulations on reaching level 3. New feature unlocked, one key insight function. Ding, Eye of Insight is now active. Su Feng read the feature description as it appeared in his mind. And for a moment he just stood in the forest covered in blood, completely lost for words. One key insight, the ability to see full details about any living being. He tried it on himself right away. The panel showed up clean and clear. His name, his talent level, his rank, his attack and defense and movement scores, his soul level. His main training method and its grade, his extra features, all of it right there in perfect detail. Extra training method, none. Fighting techniques, none. He also had 2 thin booklets taken from Ding Jiang and Chai Jai, the Broken Door Fist and Cyclone Edge Kill. Both high-grade mortal-level attack techniques. Too hard to learn quickly, but worth studying later when he had the time. Into the storage space they went. He also picked up the red-eyed bear. Vicious beasts were useful from head to tail. The meat alone was worth a lot. Packed full of energy that normal food couldn't give a training warrior. On top of that, beast materials were used in medicine making, weapon crafting, and a dozen other things that made every big hunting group in Wudang City worth watching. That made him think of 100 Herbs Hall's hunting group and what they had done to that young man for years. The anger that came up in him was nothing new by now, but it burned just as hot. He put the spring water, dry branches, and the bear's body into his storage space and headed back to the cave. That night, Su Feng crouched over a small fire inside the cliff cave, cooking bear meat until the fat sizzled and spat, and the smell filled every corner of the stone room. He ate until he was fully, deeply satisfied for the first time since coming to this world. Both hands, no slowing down, no stopping. Then he found a clean spot, lay down and slept. And the whole time he slept, in the white space behind his closed eyes, the little white-robed figure kept going. The golden dots kept building up. The pool kept filling. Back in Wudang City, things were already moving. Kai Deng, the big lead guard of the Shangyuan household, had been waiting for Fan Man, Chai Jai, and Ding Jiang to come back for hours. By the time Luo Kai showed up at the door, the owner of 100 Herbs Hall himself, thin-faced and sharp-eyed, giving off the quiet pressure of a martial master, Kai Deng was already grinding his teeth. Luo Kai had been the one to find the Pure Moon Azure Lotus bloodline in the first place, and the one who told the Shangyuan family about it. He had set up their rooms in Wudang City and kept up a careful, useful relationship with Shangyuan Yuer's people. When Kai Deng told him what had happened, Fan Man going missing, then Chai Jai and Ding Jiang sent after him and also going missing. Luo Kai's smile didn't move, but something changed behind his eyes. He sent out 100 Herbs Hall's hunting group right away. His 4th squad, 10 men including their captain, Ma Chang, an advanced martial apprentice, left for Red Leaf Valley before the hour was up. They found Fan Man's body first. What the bloodthirsty locusts had left behind was hard to make out, but his clothes gave him away. Ma Chang stood over it and frowned. Every warrior above the martial apprentice level in Wudang City knew who the Shangyuan family was. Whoever did this either had no idea or simply didn't care. Then they found Chai Jai, then Ding Jiang. Ma Chang took the reports in silence, his face getting harder and colder with each one. One killed with a single hit, the other tortured to death. Martial apprentices, both of them. And the only person in Wudang City with any reason to hate all three of them was a bloodline-stripped good-for-nothing who shouldn't have been able to throw a punch. The whole thing made no sense, but the bodies were real. Back in the city, when the news got to Kai Deng through Luo Kai's communication jade token, the floor tile under his foot didn't survive his reaction. He stomped it to dust, his voice shaking with rage. Chai Jai and Ding Jiang had praised him and flattered him every day. He'd thought of them like younger brothers. Now one was dead from a single hit, and the other had been slowly broken apart piece by piece. Luo Kai kept calm. He gave his word he would find out who did this. He would track down every person connected to the one responsible. He would hand them over to Kai Deng personally, and he would wipe out their entire family. He turned on 100 Herbs Hall's spy network that same night. 2 herb-gathering boys who had once been close to Su Feng were grabbed within the hour. Neither had done anything wrong. Neither would be treated kindly. Morning brought Yuan San's squad, 3 men, searching the cliffs to the northeast of the valley. Inside the cave, Su Feng was already up, watching the pool slowly creep toward another breakthrough. He was close, but not there yet. Going from advanced martial apprentice to the next level needed more points than any jump before it, and even at 8 times normal speed. It would take time. He was cooking the last of the bear meat when he heard the voices. This cliff is really high. If you fall, even a martial master wouldn't make it. Su Feng and whoever helped him definitely wouldn't come this way. Let's keep moving. A pause, then, wait, do you feel that? There's a spiritual chi signal. Su Feng's hand froze over the fire. Yuan San. He knew the voice from the memories he'd been given. The man who, years ago during a talent test, had found that boy to be useless and spat on him. Then walked away. System off, he shut down the cultivation function in an instant. Above him, Yuan San was already telling his man to stop imagining things. A low-level martial apprentice didn't have the sharpness to pick up spiritual chi signals that far away. And an intermediate martial apprentice's own signal would naturally be the stronger one he felt. Nothing was there. Move on. Their footsteps faded. Su Feng let out a breath so slow and careful it barely moved the air. That had been close, way too close. And it told him something he needed to hear. The cave wasn't safe anymore. Lighting fires was leaving a smell trail. Training was putting out a spiritual chi signal. A sharper person wouldn't have brushed off what Yuan San's man had sensed. Next time, they might not. He thought through his options. Every choice had a cost. Running deeper into the forest meant stronger, vicious beasts. No money, no way to upgrade the system, and getting cut off from everything. Staying hidden in the cave meant someone would find him sooner or later. And doing nothing meant the Shangyuan family would eventually bring in enough power to flip Wudang City upside down. The only path that made any sense was the one that looked crazy. Go on the attack. Find the hunting groups, take them down one by one. Take their gold, upgrade the system, keep breaking through. Not by being reckless, but on purpose with a plan, turning the hunters into the hunted before they could get organized. He thought about the men who had beaten that other young man, put him down, used him, thrown him away like trash. He thought about Yuan San spitting on a young boy who had just been told he had no talent. He thought about all the fake kindness of 100 Herbs Hall that turned out to be nothing but cold math. The rage that had been sitting in his chest since the moment he arrived hardened into something cold and solid. In ancient times, he said quietly, mostly to himself, there were those who burned their ships so they had no way back, no retreat. Win or nothing. He grabbed the vine, climbed to the top of the cliff, and followed the muddy footprints Yuan San's squad had left behind. He found them within minutes, Three figures moving carefully through the jungle, spread slightly apart, checking every shadow and gap in the trees. He used one key insight and read Yuan San's details in a flash. Intermediate martial apprentice, low-grade talent. The beast roar fist technique at beginner level. The other two were low-level martial apprentices with nothing worth noting. Su Feng watched them for a moment. Then he decided to take the two small ones first. Yuan San had sent them to separate hills. Su Feng followed the first, a low-level martial apprentice whose face he faintly knew from those darker inherited memories, and was on him before the man even felt anything wrong. No dagger. He couldn't risk the smell of blood tipping off the others. One hand over the mouth, the other at the neck. A quick, hard snap, and it was done. He set the body down gently. 14 gold coins. 37 silver, 81 copper. He took it all and moved on. The second was someone the memories called Grasshopper, a bully from the old days. 16 more gold coins. Then he turned toward the middle hill, where Yuan San was searching alone. 7 years. The young man whose body Su Feng now wore had kept that shame locked up inside for 7 years. The spitting, the swagger. The lazy cruelty of a man who barely paid attention to what he was doing to the boy in front of him. Because that boy wasn't worth paying attention to. Su Feng thought about it as he moved through the trees. The payback you never got, he said quietly, talking to the memory of someone he'd never met but whose pain he now carried. I'll get it for you. He changed into one of the dead man's clothes and moved toward the hilltop where Yuan San was waiting. But before he could close the gap, a sound came from ahead, rustling in the bushes, and then voices. Someone else was nearby. Su Feng went still. This was far from over. Where could that bastard have run off to? Yuan San muttered, then walked towards Su Feng. It looked like he wanted to go to the other hill to meet up with Manhua. Good opportunity. Su Feng's eyes lit up, and he quickly hid himself. Thump, thump, thump. The footsteps grew closer. Finally, Yuan San appeared within Su Feng's attack range. Now. Su Feng pushed off with his foot and pounced out instantly. Who? Yuan San saw a somewhat familiar figure flash before his eyes and exclaimed in surprise. Is that Manhua? The one who's going to kill you? Su Feng sneered, his hands already tightly gripping Yuan San's neck. What? Yuan San's surprised expression turned to horror. He wanted to shout, but could only squeeze out a faint sound from his throat. Perhaps it was the sound, or perhaps Su Feng's facial camouflage was too crude. Yuan San actually recognized Su Feng, and his eyes immediately filled with intense disbelief. You are Su Feng. How is that possible? How could you? You're just a common person. Yuan San stared intently at Su Feng, struggling in his extreme shock, letting out faint gasps. But under Su Feng's advanced martial apprentice strength, trying to break free was simply wishful thinking. What's impossible about it? I'm an advanced martial apprentice now, how about it? Aren't you surprised? The spit you spat on Doomster 7 or 8 years ago, today I'm returning it to you. Hedui. Su Feng spat on Yuan San's face, then exerted force, twisting his neck in Yuan San's despairing gaze. Crack. The last thing Yuan San saw was his own back. It's a good thing I chose to ambush him. Otherwise, this guy might really have withstood a few of my attacks, and if he had attracted the others, I would have been dead. Su Feng put down Yuan San's corpse, his heart beating like a drum. It was incredibly thrilling. Immediately after, he rummaged through the corpse and found 33 gold coins, a small booklet, and a small porcelain bottle. System, deposit all the money on me into my balance. Su Feng looked at the gold coins in his hand, a slight smile playing on his lips. Then gave the command. Ding. Storage complete. Balance 229 gold coins. Although it's still far from 1,000 gold coins. But it's a small step forward. Su Feng took a deep breath, discarded the empty money pouch, and brought the small booklet and small porcelain bottle before him. The small booklet was none other than the beast roar fist that Yuan San practiced, a low-grade martial skill. Not even as good as the broken gate fist and cyclone edge kill. Opening the small porcelain bottle, it contained 10 red medicinal pills the size of quail eggs. They were 10-grain refusal pills. The rank of medicinal pills is roughly similar to the cultivation technique rank, also divided into mortal, intermediate, advanced, and according to the medicinal pill quality, they are divided into low, medium, high, and supreme grade. The 10-grain refusal pills in Su Feng's hand were precisely the lowest-ranked mortal low-grade medicinal pills. One lowest-ranked grain refusal pill can substitute for one meal. I'm hungry, and I won't have to worry about food for a while. Su Feng's eyes lit up, and he immediately took out a grain refusal pill and swallowed it. Although he no longer had to worry about food, he had no intention of returning to the cave, because he couldn't cultivate peacefully there at all. If there was any place where he could cultivate most peacefully, it would definitely be inside the city. Inside the city, people were cultivating everywhere, and there were even specialized cultivation rooms. The spiritual qi was quite chaotic, so Su Feng could cultivate without anyone suspecting him. So I still have to find a way to get into the city. Not only can I cultivate in the city, but there are also gold coins to be made. Although 100 Herbs Hall is in the city, there are definitely many dangers. But there's a saying that wealth is found in danger. Su Feng hastily buried Yuan San's body while resolving to sneak into the city. However, although with his current cultivation, as long as he was careful, he could quickly escape the forest and blend into the city. However, if the remaining two groups of 100 Herbs Hall martial artists failed to find anyone after a long time, they would definitely return to report. At that time, 100 Herbs Hall's search efforts would shift to the city. But if the remaining two groups also died, they wouldn't be able to report on their own, which would buy more time. In fact, if all three groups died in the forest, it might mislead the 100 Herbs Hall to continue focusing their search on the forest. So I still have to keep killing people. Su Feng's lips curved into a barely perceptible smile. Immediately after, he returned the way he came, and, based on the traces left by Yuan San and the others, deduced that they had come from the location where Chai Jai and the other person died. The 100 Herbs Hall hunting party always operates as a whole squad. Yuan San and the others splitting into three groups to act separately. Likely means there's a captain coordinating them from the center. There's a vantage point nearby that overlooks that area. I'll scout it first. Following Doomster's memory, Su Feng arrived at a place that was not only hidden but also offered a view of the mountain below. Through the dappled trees, the figure of a bald, burly man appeared in his sight. This bald man was frowning, looking impatient and anxious. Clearly, not finding the culprit all night had made him very irritable. Sure enough, there's someone. Su Feng's eyes narrowed, and he immediately used the one-click cultivation function. Name Ma Cheng. Aptitude, medium-grade aptitude. Realm level, advanced martial apprentice. Attack level, advanced martial apprentice plus. Defense level, advanced martial apprentice plus. Movement technique level, advanced martial apprentice. Endurance level, advanced martial apprentice. Soul level, mortal soul. Main cultivation method, Spring Yuan transformation rain art intermediate. Supplementary cultivation method, Iron Sand body tempering art, intermediate introductory. Martial arts techniques, Beast Roar Fist mortal rank minor achievement. Main equipment, Black Iron Gauntlets mortal rank high grade. Advanced martial apprentice Ma Chang. I remember now. One of the most heinous people in the hunting party. This person frequently bullies men and women. Many herb-gathering boys have been victims. And Doomster was indirectly harmed as well. Su Feng's eyes narrowed, a hint of killing intent flashing in his heart. Soon. I will personally end your sinful life. He took a deep breath. Su Feng cautiously left the vantage point, and after discerning the direction, immediately set off. He hadn't just seen Ma Cheng, it was more than that. From the direction Yuan San and the others had come, he deduced that the other two groups must have gone to search in two different directions, because he was quite familiar with the nearby area. Coupled with Su Feng's current incomparable strength, he quickly found the second group of 100 Herbs Hall martial artists. This group's configuration was exactly the same as Yuan San's group, offering no resistance at all in front of Su Feng. Before long, 3 living people silently turned into 3 corpses, their money and valuables also plundered. I'm getting more and more skilled. Su Feng showed a slight smile and turned to sneak in another direction. On the way, he glanced at Ma Chang again. He saw Ma Chang pacing back and forth, seemingly hesitating whether to personally join the search. Idiot! Let's see if you can wait for the ghosts of Yuan San and the others. Su Feng smiled coldly and continued on his killing spree. Using the same method, without any surprises, the third group of 100 Herbs Hall martial artists were all killed. From these 2 groups, Su Feng again obtained 112 gold coins. There were also some miscellaneous items, such as 2 bottles of grain refusal pill, 2 identical copies of Beast Roar Fist, and an awkward short knife, all of which were directly thrown into his storage space. After depositing the newly acquired gold coins into the system, his balance had reached 341 gold coins. The one-click cultivation function is 1 step closer to its next upgrade. Su Feng licked his lips contentedly, then returned to the previous vantage point. That's right. He had to find a way to kill Ma Chang too. Only when all these people were dead could the 100 Herbs Hall and the Shangyuan family receive information about this place later. The time gained in between, Su Feng could use to do a great many things. The cultivation pool is almost full. As long as I break through to peak martial apprentice, even if I haven't mastered any martial skill, I can still finish off Ma Chang. Su Feng monitored Ma Chang while keeping an eye on the cultivation pool, seeing that the golden glow within it had increased significantly. Killing the 9 martial apprentices from 100 Herbs Hall's third group also took a considerable amount of time. Mainly, the dense and complex forest meant much of the time was spent traveling. During this period, except when he was actively fighting, Su Feng had the one-click cultivation function turned on. Now, because he was quite far from Ma Chang, there was no need to worry about spiritual chi fluctuations being detected. So he kept the one-click cultivation running. In about another hour, I'll be able to break through. Su Feng lay in ambush in the bushes, like a seasoned hunter fixating on his prey. Time slowly passed. Ding, the cultivation pool is full. Would you like to break through? Finally, the system's prompt sounded in Su Feng's mind. Break through immediately. Su Feng made his choice without hesitation. Instantly, a large amount of cultivation points appeared within Su Feng's body. They converged into a single, unstoppable force, instantly opening up the meridians in his legs. Not only that, but some cultivation also integrated into all 9 meridians, causing them to open up smaller, interconnected meridians. When all 9 meridians were fully interconnected and clear, a subtle breakthrough fluctuation immediately appeared on Su Feng's body. Peak martial apprentice. I'm only 1 step away from a true martial warrior. Su Feng felt the stronger power within his body. His heart filled with excitement. At the same time, with no subordinates reporting back, Ma Chang grew increasingly anxious, finally exhausting all his patience. Damn it. It's been a whole night. Logically, this area should have been searched completely. So why is there no news at all? The hall master is already pressing me if I mess this up. No, I have to go check myself. Ma Chang paced back and forth in the clearing among the trees, muttering to himself, then stopped abruptly and hurried towards the mountain. Finally moving, Su Feng, hidden in the bushes, curled his lips into a cold smile, then turned and crept towards the cliff. Yuan San, you useless lot, if you hear me, answer immediately. Ma Chang moved through the forest, occasionally shouting loudly. But how could dead men speak? He received no response from anyone. What's going on? Could something have happened to them? Ma Chang's brows furrowed, and an ominous feeling arose in his heart. But just then, found him. He's in the cave below the cliff. Quick, find some vines. 2 rough voices came from a distance. filled with excitement and thrill. Found him. Upon hearing the voices, Ma Chang's eyes immediately lit up with surprise. Although he felt the voices were slightly unfamiliar, he didn't think much of it. Because he was usually very arrogant and rarely spoke to his subordinates, he wasn't very familiar with their voices. Moreover, Su Feng had deliberately altered his voice to make it sound more like a common male voice, making it even harder to distinguish. Besides, could the person being hunted intentionally expose his own position? How could that be possible? Ma Chang had no doubts and immediately rushed towards the cliff. Soon, Ma Chang arrived at the cliff, only to see several vines looped over protruding rocks at the top of the cliff, suggesting that a few people had already descended. Seeing this, Ma Chang's guard completely dropped. I didn't expect there to be a cave on this cliff. The person who escaped really knows how to choose. Too bad my subordinates are still good. They caught this cunning rat. Ma Chang's face broke into a joyful smile as he walked to the edge of the cliff and shouted, "How is it down there? Where is he?" According to Ma Chang's imagination, a subordinate would surely flatter him immediately, saying, "We caught him. It's all the captain's credit, blah, blah, blah." However, what greeted him was an invisible, immense force from behind. "What? Someone ambushed me, I fell for it." Ma Chang's pupils constricted, and the hairs on his body stood on end. He immediately used all his strength to steady himself. But the force from behind was too strong. It was not something he could resist in such a hurry. In an instant, a strong sense of weightlessness swept through his entire body. "No." Ma Chang realized he was falling off a cliff and let out a scream of terror and despair. Mid-fall, he looked back and saw Su Feng standing on the edge of the cliff, a smile on his face. Immediately after, Su Feng's figure was completely obscured by the clouds and could no longer be seen. Thump! A slight thud echoed from the bottom of the cliff, making Su Feng flinch. He must have been smashed into a pulp. Su Feng took a deep breath and turned, sprinting towards the bottom of the cliff. Although the place was a bit far, Ma Chang had money on him, so trouble was not an issue. Relying on Doomster's familiarity with this forest, Su Feng quickly reached the bottom of the cliff and found Ma Chang's corpse. It was a truly gruesome sight. Suppressing his nausea, Su Feng collected the spoils of war and immediately left the area. Along the way, Su Feng headed towards Wudang City while taking out the spoils of war he had obtained from Ma Chang. The currency included 1 spirit coin, plus 7 or 8 gold coins and a few silver coins. System, deposit all currency into the balance. Su Feng looked at the money in his hand, a wide smile on his face, and immediately gave the command. Ding, storage complete. Balance 450 gold coins. Another step forward. Su Feng chuckled, then looked at the other spoils of war. A pair of gauntlets, 3 small booklets, 2 bottles of medicinal pill, and a jade token. The gauntlets were a high-grade black iron gauntlets weapon, and the booklets were 3 cultivation technique, among which the iron sand body tempering art was one Su Feng did not possess. There were 2 types of medicinal pill, the lowest grade grain refusal pill and a 100 spirit pill. The 100 spirit pill was also a common grade medicinal pill, but it was much more precious than the grain refusal pill. Even more precious than some ordinary intermediate medicinal pill, because it was said to be refined from 100 spirit medicine, specifically prepared for martial apprentice to break through to the martial apprentice realm. Excellent, with this medicinal pill, my cultivate speed can increase again. Su Feng looked at the medicinal pill bottle in his hand, which contained a full 300 spirit pill. However, although taking medicinal pill could indeed increase cultivate speed in a short time, Su Feng did not intend to take them, but rather to sell them. After all, medicinal pill are consumables. Once eaten, they are gone. But if he exchanged them for money and upgraded the system functions, he could permanently increase his cultivate speed. Just as Su Feng was excited, in Su Feng's other hand, the jade token suddenly trembled slightly. A message. No, I thought I was holding a phone. Su Feng patted his forehead and looked at the jade token. What exactly is this thing? He then froze, because 2 lines of text actually appeared on the jade token. Ma Cheng, how are you handling things? An entire night has passed. Where is the person you were supposed to catch? Do you know that Brother Kai is very anxious? If you can't catch the person soon, I will send someone else, and you won't be a captain anymore. Holy crap. It really is a text message. Although this world doesn't have mobile phones, it has something similar. Indeed, laziness drives progress. To facilitate communication, they can come up with similar things. Su Feng's eyes widened like a husky's, and it took him a long time to recover from his astonishment. Immediately after, he found information about this item in Doomster's memories. This type of jade token was the most commonly used communication jade token on the profound spirit continent, and its principle was to transmit messages through mysterious earth veins. Depending on the quality of the communication jade token, the distance messages could be transmitted, the number of recipients, and the amount of information also varied. Low-grade communication jade token could only transmit text, advanced ones could transmit sound, and top-tier ones could transmit both images and sound. Generally, only those above the martial apprentice level could possess the lowest grade communication jade token, though some wealthier martial apprentice could also own them. Tusk. Even top-tier communication jade tokens can make video calls now. How impressive. Su Feng marveled with a tusk, then began to analyze the message within the communication jade token. This should be a message from the 100 Herbs Hall Master. He and Kai Deng call each other brothers, so they should be together now. Angry because they haven't received good news from Ma Chang. He with this jade token in hand. Isn't it like holding a bull by its nose ring? Su Feng chuckled, immediately pondering how to use the jade token. Because Doomster had seen others use it, Su Feng, after some thought, successfully mastered its usage. This type of communication jade token uses handwritten input. After writing, activating it with spiritual chi allows the message to be sent. However, a martial apprentice cannot release spiritual chi externally, but if he has spirit coins, he can still use it. HMPH, my esteemed hall master, don't rush, I'll soothe you a bit. Su Feng's eyes darted around, and he wrote character by character on the jade token. Your subordinate has failed in his duty. Please forgive him, hall master. However, your subordinates have already found the target's tracks and will soon capture him. We beg the hall master to give us another chance. After writing, Su Feng took out a spirit coin and placed it against the communication jade token, just touching it. Immediately after, the communication jade token absorbed a trace of spiritual chi and sent the text message. Having done all this, Su Feng put away his spoils and quickly headed towards Wudang City. At the same time, in Wudang City, inside the luxurious mansion where the Shangyuan family had once stayed, Luo Kai had accompanied Kai Deng for an entire night, drinking a belly full of tea, and they were almost out of topics to discuss. Because Ma Chang had still not caught the person, Kai Deng became increasingly agitated, and Luo Kai also harbored a suppressed anger. To fail to capture an ordinary person after an entire day and night was simply a disgrace to his 100 Herbs Hall. How is it, Brother Luo? Kai Deng asked immediately upon seeing Luo Kai send a message with the communication jade token. There's news. My subordinates have already confirmed the target's whereabouts and will soon capture him. These useless subordinates have failed in their duty once the person is caught. I will certainly make them apologize to Brother Kai. Luo Kai looked at the new reply on the communication jade token, and his slightly furrowed brow immediately relaxed. It's good as long as they can catch him. Brother Luo, you must make sure they capture him alive. Brother Kai said with a fierce expression. I will make sure that murderer who killed my brother experiences the most cruel tortures. Of course. Luo Kai smiled and immediately sent a new order using the communication jade token. However, he had no idea that his own forces had been completely wiped out, and the one he was contacting was Su Feng. Su Feng, on his way, noticed the communication jade token's anomaly and immediately took it out to check. He saw a new order written on the communication jade token. Ma Cheng, there is a hunting group stronghold of ours in the level 2 vicious beast area in your direction. I will have them assist you. Remember, you must capture him alive. HMPH, HMPH. As expected, he fell for it. Moreover, deep in this forest, in the level 2 vicious beast area, there's actually a hunting group stronghold of the 100 Herbs Hall. Fortunately, I didn't choose to flee deeper into the forest otherwise. I would definitely be dead. Su Feng saw the message from Luo Kai, a faint smile of successful scheming appearing at the corner of his mouth, along with a touch of relief. It was a good thing he hadn't blindly played it safe, otherwise his life would have been lost. Next, Su Feng replied to the communication jade token with messages like, guarantee to complete the mission, and then continued to rush towards Wudong City. Soon he arrived at the edge of the forest. Not far away, a dark city stood on the plain amidst towering mountains. The 100 city walls, covered in battle scars, resembled a dragon lying on land, with high watchtowers making it impregnable. This city was precisely the only human city within several hundred miles, Wudong City. Beyond this city, the surroundings were all primeval forest. The deeper one went, the stronger the vicious beasts one would encounter. Only one relatively safe road led to another city. But at least a martial spirit-level expert, or several martial masters traveling together, were needed to safely and smoothly reach the destination. No retreat, only advance. Su Feng glanced at the road leading out of Wudong City, then turned and walked towards Wudong City. Walking out of the forest and nearing Wudong City, one could see fields cultivated on the plains outside the city. Wudong City was not small, and it was mostly populated by ordinary people and low-level martial apprentices, so the consumption of food was very high. This was why these fields existed. Soon the city gate appeared in his line of sight, and Su Feng stopped. The city gate is guarded by the city lord's mansion. Doomster has been a herb-gathering boy for so many years, going in and out. The guards are probably very familiar with him. The city lord's mansion and 100 Herbs Hall have a close relationship. I cannot let them recognize me. Su Feng pondered silently, and a flash of inspiration struck him. He took out the red-eyed bear corpse from his storage space. He slung the bear corpse over his back, then smeared a little blood on his face, and immediately no one would recognize him. And it turned out to be true. When the guards saw Su Feng, they saw his clothes and the bear corpse on his back. Immediately took him for a member of 100 Herbs Hall's hunting party, and then withdrew their gaze. It's good to be in the city. Although Wudong City can be called an isolated city, its population is quite large. Plus, Doomster's level is too low, his circle is small, and very few people know him. As long as I make another disguise, it will definitely be difficult to be discovered. Su Feng's mouth curved into a smile, and after entering the city with the bear corpse on his back, he walked directly to the left. To the left was a very wide main street. People came and went on the street, which was lined with stalls selling all kinds of items. For example, vicious beast materials, heaven and earth treasures, swords, spears, armor, and so on. Finding a random stall, Su Feng sold the bear corpse on his back for 4 gold coins. Immediately after, he spent 10 silver coins to buy several sets of clothes, and also bought a bamboo hat with a veil. Because there were many mosquitoes in the forest, this kind of attire was normal for martial artists who often went out hunting. Finding an unoccupied alley, Su Feng changed his clothes and put on the bamboo hat, instantly looking completely new. Then he swaggered down the main street, blending into the crowd. Although this outfit was a bit mysterious, such attire was not uncommon on the street. Su Feng, therefore, appeared even more ordinary and common. The sense of security is much stronger, delightful. Su Feng smiled heartily and walked towards a medicinal pill shop in the distance. He hadn't forgotten that he had just obtained 300 spirit pills from Ma Chang. Entering the shop, it was bustling with quite a few people. But most people came to buy grain refusal pills and other cheap medicinal pills. Even slightly better mortal-grade medicinal pills were luxuries for ordinary martial apprentices. Su Feng glanced around and soon saw 100 spirit pill on a shelf, placed in a transparent glass bottle. Many people around him stared at the medicinal pill with wandering eyes, their eyes filled with longing. Unfortunately, none of them could afford it. The shopkeeper behind the counter looked at these people, with a hint of disdain in his eyes, thinking, "A bunch of paupers. All you can do is look." Just then a clear voice echoed through the shop, "Boss, how much is the 100 spirit pill here?" As soon as these words were spoken, the shop suddenly fell silent. Immediately after, everyone's gaze fell upon Su Feng. Su Feng was standing in front of the 100 spirit pill sample, his expression calm. Did this guy just say he wants to buy 100 spirit pill? 100 spirit pill is not an ordinary mortal-grade medicinal pill. Yet he actually wants to buy it. His buying 100 spirit pill, how enviable. The people around looked at Su Feng with envy and respect. "Little brother, are you thinking of buying 100 spirit pill?" The shopkeeper also raised an eyebrow, asking in a surprised, loud voice. Su Feng was about to nod when he suddenly heard a sneer. "Shopkeeper Liu, your eyesight is really too poor. With those clothes bought from a street stall, he's clearly a pauper at first glance. Do you think he can afford it?" Along with the arrogant voice, a young man wearing an exquisite long robe and a long sword at his waist walked in. It's Chen Jian, the second young master of the Chen family. "What? Then hurry up and move aside. This one is not to be provoked." The ordinary people around, hearing the young man's name, immediately moved to both sides, clearing a path. "So it's young Master Chen who has graced us with his presence. I, your humble servant, failed to greet you from afar. Please forgive me." Shopkeeper Liu, upon seeing Chen Jian, smiled at him and bowed with clasped hands. As for Su Feng, shopkeeper Liu looked down on him, only asking a question out of duty. Now that a truly important customer had arrived, shopkeeper Liu naturally immediately cast Su Feng aside. "Shopkeeper Liu, I'm here today to buy 100 spirit pill." Chen Jian walked directly next to Su Feng, looked at him disdainfully, and said, "Move aside, this medicinal pill is mine now." As soon as he spoke, most of the people around immediately cast sympathetic glances at Su Feng. But there were also some who sneered, crossing their arms, looking like they were enjoying a good show. After all, Su Feng was the object of their envy just moments ago. But now, in the blink of an eye, Su Feng was about to suffer a setback, which was truly satisfying. However, just when everyone thought Su Feng would slink away in shame. Everything has a first come, first served rule. Su Feng looked at Chen Jian and sneered, "I saw this medicinal pill first, and I asked for its price first. If you want to buy it, wait your turn." He had already seen Chen Jian's information. He was nothing more than an advanced martial apprentice with medium-grade aptitude. Such a character dared to be arrogant, and Su Feng would not indulge him. But the passers-by around were greatly startled by Su Feng's action. This guy actually dared to talk back to young Master Chen. He probably doesn't know young Master Chen's background. This hothead is doomed. That's right, the Chen family is a family with martial masters, and not just one martial master. Their strongest is only one step away from becoming a martial master. Tisk tisk, just watch. This foolish fellow with no self-awareness will soon be kneeling before young Master Chen begging for mercy. How pitiful. But this is how the world is. The strong are respected. The onlookers discussed Su Feng animatedly, pointing fingers. Everyone looked at Su Feng with sneers and disdain, as if Su Feng was already dead. At the same time, "What did you say? Do you know who I am? What are you? With your impoverished appearance, you dare to compete with me for 100 spirit pill. You probably can't even afford the bottle." Chen Jian also turned his head and stared intently at Su Feng, his eyes filled with rage and disdain. He was considered a somewhat famous young master. He knew everyone of some standing in Wudong City. He didn't know someone like Su Feng, but he could tell at a glance that he was a poor wretch trying to appear wealthy. Being rebuked by Su Feng at this moment, Chen Jian felt deeply humiliated, wishing he could beat Su Feng into a state of helplessness. You say I'm poor and can't afford 100 spirit pill. All right then, let's make a bet on whether I can afford it or not. Do you dare to accept? Su Feng curled his lips, looking at Chen Jian with a provocative expression, a hint of killing intent flashing in his heart. HMPH. Someone of your caliber dares to bet with me. All right, considering your courage, I'll bet with you. But I'll set the rules. Chen Jian's eyes revealed a fierce glint, and he sneered repeatedly. Aren't you so self-important about being rich? Let's compare who has more money. Although he was arrogant and haughty, he wasn't foolish. A single 100 spirit pill. Some ordinary martial apprentices could still afford it if they tried their hardest. Therefore, Chen Jian directly changed the bet to a simple and crude comparison of who had more money. He had come here today to purchase medicinal pills for himself and his brothers at home, and he had brought plenty of money. So Chen Jian didn't believe he would lose to an unknown martial apprentice wearing cheap clothes. And as soon as this bet was proposed, the passers-by around immediately felt the show was over. Compare wealth with young Master Chen, how could he dare? Exactly, even if he could afford 100 spirit pill. He definitely wouldn't be as rich as young Master Chen. Just watch, this guy is about to chicken out. Yes, he wouldn't dare to bet. The onlookers discussed animatedly, their gazes at Su Feng filled with disdain. Shopkeeper Liu even intended to be a good person and personally escort Su Feng out, giving him a way to save face. But something that made everyone gape in astonishment happened. All right. This bet is fair, I'll bet with you. Since you set the rules for the bet, then I'll set the stakes. Su Feng's lips curled into a slight smile. Whoever loses, all their worldly possessions go to the other party. Not even their underwear can be kept. Do you dare to bet? Although Su Feng didn't actually have much money on him, he had a brilliant plan that would definitely win. And as soon as his words came out, the entire place was so silent you could hear a single strand of curly hair drop. People were wide-eyed and dumbfounded, looking at Su Feng with disbelief. Immediately after, people couldn't help but whisper among themselves again. Does this kid really have money? Impossible. What wealthy martial artist would dress like this kid? Exactly. They either wear luxurious clothes made from precious furs and fabrics, or powerful defensive armor. Wearing a street stall's hemp robe, how much money could he possibly have? That's right, I think this guy is definitely putting on a show. Or just running his mouth, pretending to be brave when he's actually terrified inside. The surrounding onlookers also recovered from their shock, looking at Su Feng with even stronger disdain, as if they were looking at a stupid pig that had wandered into the crowd. Shopkeeper Liu looked at Su Feng with astonishment, then his eyes revealed disgust and contempt. He had seen many low-level people who had suddenly become rich, but it was his first time seeing someone as arrogant as Su Feng, who dared to go against a century-old family. It wasn't that no one considered that Su Feng might be a low-key person, but that possibility was too low. Because in this world, strength is everything. The treatment a person receives is always linked to their displayed strength. Unless absolutely necessary, a person would not hide their strength in a low-key manner. However, if Su Feng truly was forced to hide his wealth, then why didn't he continue to be low-key and endure, but instead actively propose such a large bet, exposing his financial strength? Isn't that contradictory? So including Chen Jian, shopkeeper Liu, and all the passers-by. Their hearts were now completely certain that Su Feng was just a guy who had made a little money, gotten carried away, drunk on his own success, and overestimated himself. Tusk. He really thinks that just because he got a little money, he's rich enough to rule the world. Chen Jian's face was full of scorn and disdain. Since that's the case, I'll accept this bet and make this overestimating trash sober up. Good. With so many people watching here, don't you dare renege if you lose. A cold sneer was hidden in Su Feng's eyes, his face a forced smile. Otherwise, it's not just your face that will be lost, but also the century-old reputation of the great Chen family. Heh me lose. How ridiculous. Now I'm going to make you lose your underwear and roll out from in front of me naked. Chen Jian sneered harshly, then directly took out his money pouch and slammed it heavily onto the counter. Clatter. The impact sounds were dense and compact. One could tell it was full of coins. Hiss. That bulging money pouch definitely contains a huge sum of money I've never seen in my life. Yes, I truly envy young Master Chen. If only I could follow young Master Chen. Ha 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 ha, that overestimating trash is doomed to lose. Everyone discussed animatedly, looking at Su Feng with disdain and amusement, as if they had already seen the scene of Su Feng losing the bet and stripping in public. However, Su Feng completely disdained the money pouch. No matter how much money was in that money pouch, he would not lose. Come, kid, I'll count it for you. Chen Jian arrogantly opened the money pouch and took out the coins inside. 1, 2, 3. 92 gold coins. One by one, gold coins were taken out of the money pouch, glittering with golden light, dazzling the surrounding passers-by. Immediately after, Chen Jian took out spirit coins, one by one with a jade-like texture. It's spirit coins. One spirit coin is equivalent to 100 gold coins. THTH this 1, 2, 3, 9 spirit coins. Hiss. 9 spirit coins plus the previous gold coins. That's almost a full 1,000 gold coins. Everyone looked at Chen Jian's spirit coins and gold coins, their eyes red with envy. Even shopkeeper Liu's eyes lit up, thinking that this deal today was truly the biggest business of the year. At the same time, they were even more certain that Su Feng was doomed to lose. This huge sum, an ordinary martial apprentice couldn't earn in a lifetime. How about it, kid? I won't take advantage of you. I won't say 1,000, it's 992 gold coins. Quickly, take out all your belongings and let everyone see how many copper coins you have. Chen Jian crossed his arms, looking at Su Feng with an arrogant expression, while the onlookers all wore looks of disdain and amusement. Such a small amount of money, and you dare to show it off. I have 2 money bags on me. I'll just use one of them to compete with you. Su Feng sneered, reaching his hand into the lapel of his chest. After some fumbling, he pulled out 2 bulging money bags. The money bags were obtained from killing the martial apprentice of 100 Herbs Hall. Inside, Su Feng had already used the system. Fund deposit and conversion function to put 125 gold coins and 1 spirit coin in each. Because there were many coins, they looked bigger and more bulging than Chen Jian's money bag. Shopkeeper Liu and the passers-by saw these 2 money bags, and the disdain and amusement on their faces instantly froze. Chen Jian also frowned, his eyes filled with suspicion. This, such bulging money bags. He even said he'd only use one of them to compete with young Master Chen Jian. Could it be that this kid is really richer than young Master Chen Jian? Several low-level martial apprentices gasped, unable to help but exclaim. You 2 fools! Did you leave your brains at home? Those must be filled with copper and silver coins. Saying he'll only use 1 money bag to compete is just putting on an act. Can't you see that? Exactly. I don't believe that kid can really be richer than young Master Chen Jian. This is 1,000 gold coins. Some passers-by immediately refuted the previous martial apprentices and smiled ingratiatingly at Chen Jian. HMPH. Kid, why are you hiding it? Take out your copper coins. Chen Jian felt relieved after hearing the words of those around him, and his expression immediately returned to its previous arrogance and disdain. I'll satisfy your request. Now open your eyes wide. Look clearly and count carefully. Su Feng's lips curved into a cold smile as he reached into one of the money bags. Immediately after, under everyone's watchful eyes, Su Feng pulled out a jade-like spirit coin from the money bag and shook it towards the crowd, showing it off. It's a spirit coin. I didn't expect this guy to actually have a spirit coin. It seems he has some small change, but he's definitely not as good as young Master Chen. That's right, kid, keep taking them out. Could it be that what's left in the money bag is really just copper coins? Shopkeeper Liu and the passers-by were startled, then immediately sneered again. Chen Jian looked at Su Feng, who was so confident at the jade-like spirit coin and the bulging money bag, and the arrogance and disdain on his face gradually receded. All of you shut up. Did I say I wouldn't show you? Su Feng glared at everyone, angrily retorting with a sneer. Immediately after, in front of everyone, he put the spirit coin in his hand into the second money bag, then took out another spirit coin from the first money bag. However, in reality, the first spirit coin had already been deposited into the system, and then taken out again by Su Feng, and put into the first money bag through the system. However, this trick of moving from the left hand to the right hand was completely flawless. No one could possibly see through it. Another spirit coin, that's 2 spirit coins. What are you shouting about? That's only 2, what's the big deal? Exactly, I can even take out 2 spirit coins. There was a commotion among the crowd, and most people still looked at Su Feng with disdain. Chen Jian, however, became expressionless, feeling a little unsure. Just then, Su Feng again displayed the spirit coin in his hand, put it into the second money pouch, and then took out another spirit coin from the first money pouch. The noisy crowd fell silent, but before they could speak, Su Feng displayed the spirit coin and then put it into the second money pouch again. That's the 4th spirit coin. A martial apprentice couldn't help but whisper. Could he really be richer than young master Chen Jian? A few cold snorts came from around them, but no one spoke again. Chen Jian's face darkened, and his hands subtly clenched into fists. The sense of foreboding in his heart grew stronger and stronger. The medicinal pill shop became completely silent. The only sounds were the increasingly heavy breathing of the crowd and the clinking of Su Feng taking spirit coins from his money pouch. Then, under everyone's gaze and silent counting, Su Feng took out the 9th spirit coin from the first money pouch. 9 already. 9 spirit coins, 900 gold coins. It's not over, this guy. He's still taking them out. Listen closely, there's a very slight spiritual chi fluctuation inside. There are probably more spirit coins in that pouch. Well, shopkeeper Liu and the passers-by widened their eyes, staring intently at Su Feng's hand, their hearts filled with disbelief. 9 spirit coins. How could this guy be so rich? The money I have for medicinal pills was given to me by all the elders in my family. That's why there's so much. No, he can't be richer than me. He absolutely cannot take out a 10th spirit coin. I won't lose. I will never lose. Chen Jian was completely flustered, his wide eyes' pupils constricted, his body trembled slightly, and his knuckles turned white from clenching. Just then, a golden flash appeared, revealing a gold coin in Su Feng's hand. Is it a gold coin? How could it be a gold coin? Does this kid have no more spirit coins? Shopkeeper Liu and the others looked at the gold coin, their faces a mix of surprise, relief, and confusion. You little bastard, you can't take out any more spirit coins, can you? Go on, take more out. I want to see how many gold coins you can mix into that bag of coppers. Chen Jian's face showed pleasant surprise, and he pointed at Su Feng, shouting excitedly, My apologies, I made a mistake, let's restart. Su Feng glanced at Chen Jian with a playful expression. He had actually done it on purpose, just to see the embarrassed look of that fop grasping at a lifeline. And as soon as he said that, Chen Jian's shouting instantly stopped, and the expression on his face froze, unable to smile anymore. Immediately after, then to everyone's astonished expressions, Su Feng took out another spirit coin from the money pouch and put it into the second money pouch. That wasn't all. He continued to repeat the above action, taking out 5 more spirit coins. 15 spirit coins. He actually took out 15 spirit coins. Hiss, don't forget, he only took out a portion from one of his money pouches. His true wealth is definitely far beyond 15 spirit coins. Oh my God, I've truly seen it now. A martial artist wearing cheap clothes can really take out so much money. It's unbelievable. What is this adult's identity anyway? To have so much money. One by one, the passers-by were horrified, gasping in admiration. The disdain in their eyes toward Su Feng was completely gone, replaced by envy and reverence. This is impossible. This isn't real. How could I lose? How could it be? Chen Jian stood there stunned, completely unable to accept the facts. Su Feng had intentionally taken out the gold coin earlier, giving him a glimmer of hope, and then cruelly shattered that hope, delivering the most complete blow to him. He felt that his heart really hurt so much that he was almost going to shut down. Young Master Chen, you lost. Now fulfill the bet, I'll take your money. Su Feng calmly put away his 2 money pouches, then reached out to take Chen Jian's money pouch. No, you can't take my money. Chen Jian's body trembled, and he immediately blocked Su Feng's path, his face contorted in a ferocious expression. This huge sum was given to him by his elders after much begging. It was the entire family's support for him and his brothers, ensuring their breakthrough to peak martial apprentice and even their advancement to martial artist. If he lost this money, he had no idea how he would explain it. Young Master Chen, we agreed clearly before that no one would go back on their word. Are you trying to renege now? Do you know that by doing this, you not only lose face for yourself, but also severely damage your Chen family's reputation? The loss of reputation is the most serious. If your Chen family is considered untrustworthy, who will do business with you? By then, your Chen family's losses will be more than just these less than 1,000 gold coins. Su Feng raised an eyebrow, clasped his hands behind his back, and spoke in a light tone. This, I. Chen Jian trembled slightly upon hearing Su Feng's quite reasonable words, hesitating. He looked around. The passers-by who had previously flattered him now avoided his gaze, some even secretly harboring disdain in their eyes. How about this? I'll only take the money. Stripping down to your undergarments would negatively impact your Chen family's reputation. So let's forget about it. Su Feng stood before Chen Jian with his hands behind his back, his voice gentle, exuding an aura of someone who convinces others with reason. This, good. Chen Jian immediately felt it was acceptable when he realized he wouldn't have to lose his undergarments, thus preserving his family's reputation. Some people, if you want to smash a wall to open a window, they will definitely disagree. But if you threaten to rip off the roof, they will agree to compromise and open a window. The Chen family is indeed trustworthy. Su Feng smiled, then suppressed his excitement and carefully put away Chen Jian's money bag. After doing all this, he walked straight out of the shop, and the passers-by automatically made way for him. Distinguished guest, wait a moment. Shopkeeper Liu frantically stretched out his hand and shouted, "The 100-spirit pill you wanted." Su Feng paused, saying without turning his head, "Shopkeeper Liu, I'll give you a saying. You can't judge a book by its cover, nor can you measure the sea with a dipper." Alas, I've learned a lesson. Shopkeeper Liu's face showed regret. He practically hated himself. If he hadn't looked down on people, he wouldn't have lost such a big customer. Oh no, it was 2 big customers, including Chen Jian. That was 1,000 gold coin business. Thinking of this, Shopkeeper Liu slumped onto a chair, no longer wanting to do business. Meanwhile, Chen Jian stood there feeling empty, completely lost and equally hating himself. Su Feng walked briskly down the street, his eyes gleaming with gold under his bamboo hat. So happy he was almost laughing out loud. He had never expected that not only would he still have the medicinal pill, but he would also make a massive profit of 1,000 gold coins out of thin air. 1,000 gold coins. How many Ma Changs would he have to kill to get that much? I can't hold it in. System, quickly deposit these gold coins and spirit coins into my balance. Su Feng gave the system an instruction as he blended into the noisy crowd. Ding, storage complete. Balance 1442 gold coins. Hello. Su Feng was so excited he couldn't help but shake his leg. Quick. Quickly upgrade my one-click cultivation function. Ding. Consuming 1,000 gold coins. The one-click cultivation function has been upgraded to level 4. Current cultivation speed is 16 times the basic cultivation speed. The system prompt came and the cultivation speed directly doubled, reaching 16 times the basic cultivation speed. If compared to a high-grade aptitude martial apprentice of the same level, that would be 960 times. Awesome! Cultivating for 1 hour is equivalent to a high-grade aptitude martial artist of the same level cultivating for 40 days without eating, drinking, or sleeping. Su Feng was so thrilled he felt like he was about to fly. Just then, another system prompt suddenly sounded. Ding! Congratulations on upgrading the one-click cultivation function to level 4. You have gained permission to unlock the new main functions, 1 key. Martial arts training function. You can unlock it by consuming 1 gold coin. What? I actually obtained a brand new main functions. A main functions on the same level as the one-click cultivation function, the 1 key martial arts training function. Su Feng, who was already incredibly excited, instantly trembled. His eyes wide, and the wild joy in his heart was like a surging tide. The 1 key martial arts training function, at a glance, was a function related to practicing martial arts. Its abnormal degree was definitely no weaker than the one-click cultivation function. He stood in a daze for several breaths. Only then did he remember what he should do. System immediately unlocked the 1 key martial arts training function. Su Feng took a deep breath and issued the command to the system. Ding! Consuming 1 gold coin, the 1 key martial arts training function has been unlocked. It is currently rank 1, and the martial arts training speed is 2 times the base speed. Ding! The martial arts training pool has been opened, function descriptions have been issued, a cultivation technique gift package has been issued, and a main functions unlock gift package has been issued. Ding! Congratulations on obtaining the branch function, infinite martial arts training function. A series of system prompts resounded in his mind, like the most melodious celestial music. Immediately after, Su Feng felt a tremor in his mind. He closed his eyes, and the boundless white space appeared before him. Next to the cultivation pool, there was now a martial arts training pool. The martial arts training pool was light red, and a small figure identical to Su Feng was also sitting inside. However, this small figure was dressed in a black robe, forming a stark contrast with the white robe of the cultivation's small figure. At the same time, a large amount of information regarding the brand new system, functions, surged into Su Feng's mind. The primary purpose of the 1 key martial arts training function was to automatically practice supplementary cultivation methods and martial arts. Techniques, like one-click cultivation, 1 key martial practice could also be turned on and off at will. After activating 1 key martial practice, the martial arts training small figure would automatically comprehend and practice the designated cultivation technique. During this process, skill points, similar to cultivation points, would be generated. Using skill points, one could increase the proficiency of the corresponding cultivation technique. Supplementary cultivation methods and martial arts techniques were divided into entry, minor achievement, major achievement, and perfection based on practice progress. If there were enough skill points, the cultivation technique proficiency could be directly raised to the perfection rank. The base speed of the 1 key martial arts training function was linked to aptitude. With Su Feng's top-grade talent, the speed of cultivating supplementary cultivation methods and martial arts techniques was naturally many times faster than high-grade or lower. Aptitude. Moreover, the 1 key martial arts training function was not affected by spiritual chi concentration and could maintain the highest martial arts training speed. At all times, when skill points filled the martial arts training pool, the corresponding martial skill could be raised to the entry level. If it was filled again, it could be raised to the minor achievement level, and so on, until it reached the perfection level. Additionally, the effect of the branch function infinite martial arts training function, was also incredibly abnormal. There were many cultivation techniques in this world, but many cultivation techniques had restrictive conditions, most commonly being limited by bloodline or special consumables. Furthermore, many cultivation techniques were incompatible with each other. If a martial artist cultivated an incompatible cultivation technique, at best he would suffer qi deviation, and at worst he would perish and his Tao would vanish. But with the infinite martial arts training function, Su Feng could practice any cultivation technique at will, without any restrictions. Hadahaya awesome, too awesome. From now on, I can not only cultivate automatically, but also practice martial arts automatically. Without any restrictions. Su Feng was incredibly excited and couldn't help but let out a low laugh, his entire body trembling slightly with the laughter. Is he sick? Several people walking by gave Su Feng a look of disgust. HMPH. A bunch of idiots, you simply can't imagine my happiness, haha. Su Feng rolled his eyes, then returned to his incredibly excited state. He hadn't forgotten. He still had 441 gold coins he hadn't used yet. System, quickly upgrade my one-key martial arts training function. Su Feng commanded in his mind with immense arrogance. Directly upgrade me 2 ranks. Ding. Consuming 10 gold coins, the one-key martial arts training function has been upgraded to rank 2. And the current martial arts training speed is 4 times the base speed. Ding. Consuming 100 gold coins, the one-key martial arts training function has been upgraded to rank 3. And the current martial arts training speed is 8 times the base speed. Heavy. Being rich is awesome. Now it's time to cultivate cultivation techniques. Su Feng's eyes gleamed as he took out several cultivation techniques from his storage space. These were spoils of war obtained from killing Ma Chang and other enemies, including the intermediate supplementary cultivation method, iron sand body forging art, and the mortal rank martial arts techniques, door-breaking fist, beast roar fist, and cyclone edge kill. Originally, Su Feng had planned to take time to practice these cultivation techniques. Relying solely on brute force wouldn't work. Having martial skills would surely greatly increase his combat power. But now he no longer had to painstakingly practice cultivation techniques, exhausting his efforts and time like other struggling martial artists. Looking at the 4 cultivation techniques in front of him, Su Feng was a bit conflicted. Which one should he practice? The higher the rank of the main cultivation method, the more stable and faster the realm advancement, and the higher the rank of supplementary cultivation methods and martial arts techniques, the more difficult they are to practice. An ordinary martial apprentice with very poor aptitude often needs 10 to 20 years to cultivate a mortal rank martial arts techniques to perfection. My aptitude is of the highest grade, and my martial arts training speed is increased 8-fold. I will definitely be able to completely cultivate a mortal rank cultivation technique in a short amount of time. After some thought, Su Feng decided to try practicing Cyclone Edge Kill. This was a mortal rank, high-grade weapon-type martial skill, more valuable than the other 2 mortal rank cultivation techniques. System. Activate the one-key martial arts training function to practice the designated martial skill. Cyclone Edge Kill. Su Feng put the other cultivation techniques into his storage space, held Cyclone Edge Kill, and gave the command in his mind. Ding, one-key martial arts training function activated. Starting to practice the designated martial skill, Cyclone Edge Kill. With the appearance of the system prompt, Su Feng immediately noticed a constantly flipping phantom booklet appearing in front of the black-robed figure in the martial arts training pool. It seemed that this booklet was precisely Cyclone Edge Kill. Immediately after, a phantom dagger materialized in the black-robed figure's hand. It occasionally closed its eyes in contemplation, and occasionally performed various difficult movements. As the black-robed figure continuously comprehended and practiced, white glowing points appeared in the martial arts training pool. These white glowing points were the skill points for Cyclone Edge Kill. The speed isn't slow. It's already covered the bottom of the martial arts training pool with a layer. Su Feng excitedly watched the martial arts training pool, estimating that it wouldn't even take half a day to cultivate this cultivation technique to the entry level. The thought of soon being able to wield a dagger with great proficiency made Su Feng even more excited. Oh, right. With martial skills starting to be practiced, my cultivation can't fall behind either. I must immediately find a place to start cultivating. Su Feng suddenly realized, patted his head, and then began to ponder suitable resting places. Doomster's previous residence was definitely out of the question. There were people who knew him there, which would be too inconvenient. Buying a house was too much trouble, and it was ridiculously expensive, so he gave up on that idea. After some analysis, Su Feng decided to stay at Tingfeng Inn, which was close to the rich district. Although Wudong City rarely had outsiders, inns were not uncommon, and staying at an inn wouldn't attract much attention. Because people within Wudong City also had needs for renting rooms, you know. Additionally, the reason he chose Tingfeng Inn, and not other places, was because Tingfeng Inn was very tall. If he stayed on a high floor, he would be able to overlook a small part of the rich district of Wudong City. And the luxurious mansion where Shang Yuan and others were staying was right within that view. Su Feng didn't want to be too passive. At the very least, he needed to be more aware of his enemy's movements. After making up his mind, Su Feng quickened his pace, heading towards Tingfeng Inn. Just then, a team of martial apprentices, dressed in the 100 Herbs Hall's uniforms, walked past. The most crucial thing was that this team of martial apprentices was carrying 2 corpses, and the clothes worn by the corpses were particularly glaring in Su Feng's eyes. They were the uniforms of 100 Herbs Hall's herb-gathering boys. 2 herb-gathering boys died. Su Feng looked closely, his brows gradually furrowing. These 2 herb-gathering boys were Doomster's only friends in his life. 100 Herbs Hall's punishments for herb-gathering boys were severe, but they wouldn't beat them to death. Because 100 Herbs Hall still needed to exploit these poor people. And now 2 had died, and both were Doomster's friends. To say this was a coincidence, Su Feng absolutely did not believe it. Su Feng was not the only one watching. Someone nearby immediately began to whisper. 100 Herbs Hall actually beat herb-gathering boys to death, how strange. My friend from 100 Herbs Hall said that they were questioned. Knew nothing and were beaten to death. Question them, what could these useless people know? Ask them, could it be that they found a heaven and earth treasure and refused to hand it over, and were discovered? Possibly. They. 2 passers-by discussed with confusion. But Su Feng could roughly guess what Doomster's 2 friends were asked. Earlier, Yuan San and others had analyzed that 100 Herbs Hall mistakenly thought someone had rescued him. These 2 herb-gathering boys must have been arrested and interrogated as accomplices, but they truly knew nothing and were killed as a result. Don't worry. I will avenge you. Su Feng's narrowed eyes gleamed with a cold light. Then he quietly left the crowd and hurried towards Tingfeng Inn. Before long, a 30-story wooden tall building appeared before his eyes, which was Tingfeng Tower. This Tingfeng Tower soared into the clouds, with winding corridors, upturned eaves, and carved beams and painted rafters. Not at all inferior to the skyscrapers on Earth. However, Su Feng was not surprised. Because martial artists are powerful, and their productivity far exceeds that of ordinary people. Building such a tall building is completely a piece of cake. Tingfeng Tower was not the tallest building in Wudong City. Many other tall buildings were higher than it, and Wudong City's city walls were more than 3 times its height. Entering Tingfeng Tower, it was a magnificent hall, bustling with people, lively and extraordinary. Tingfeng Inn was just one of Tingfeng Tower's business ventures. There were also restaurants, cultivation rooms, and even entertainment venues here. Tusk. Even a small, remote city has such a prosperous place. Although the world of martial artists lacks technology, it is even more prosperous than Earth. Su Feng marveled, then went straight to his destination, arriving at the Tingfeng Inn counter, and rented a room closest to the Shangyuan family's luxurious residence. System, activate the one-click cultivation function. As soon as he entered the room, Su Feng immediately issued the command. Ding! One-click cultivation function activated. The system prompt came, and the little white figure in the cultivation pool immediately began to circulate its qi. Suddenly, a large amount of spiritual qi surged from the surroundings, transforming into golden cultivation points in the cultivation pool. 16 times cultivation speed is indeed amazing. Su Feng closed his eyes, staring intently at the cultivation pool, and found that cultivation points were gushing out like an endless spring. At this rate, it wouldn't be long before he could break through to the martial artist level. A martial artist can release spiritual qi, performing many mysterious techniques. Entering this realm is truly stepping into the ranks of the extraordinary. Su Feng opened his eyes, a hint of excitement and anticipation within them. Then, he walked to the window, looking down, and an independent, enclosed, luxurious mansion appeared in his sight. Many familiar memories instantly flooded his mind. Doomster rescued Shangyu Yuer in the wild, and soon after moved into this luxurious mansion called Quanting Courtyard, where he and Shangyu Yuer were deeply in love. But just when Doomster thought he was about to marry a beautiful and wealthy woman, reaching the peak of his life, and was extremely excited, Shangyu Yuer's old injury relapsed, and she was close to death. Luo Kai from 100 Herbs Hall diagnosed that the reason was Doomster's poor treatment methods, which caused a great disaster. The unfathomable old man by Shangyu Yuer's side proposed the only treatment method, which was to treat with a special bloodline. Then they searched the entire city but couldn't find the bloodline, and at the last moment found it on Doomster. However, transferring the bloodline required the original owner to be completely willing, without any resistance. The poor Doomster was overwhelmed with surprise and joy. He truly believed he had harmed Shangyu Yuer, was filled with self-reproach, and therefore readily agreed. Next, the bloodline was successfully transferred, and this complete deception also came to an end. Shangyu Yuer, you really went to great lengths. Too bad. You won't be able to enjoy the pure moon as your lotus bloodline for long. Su Feng experienced Doomster's heartbreaking pain and despair, a flicker of determination and killing intent flashing in his eyes. Just then, in Quanting Courtyard, two figures appeared together in the yard. These two were Luo Kai and Kai Deng. Luo Kai and Kai Deng are together. And it's early morning now. It looks like Luo Kai stayed overnight in Quanting Courtyard. Logically, this is Shangyu Yuer's residence, so it's impossible for Luo Kai to stay overnight. Su Feng's eyebrow twitched. Could it be that Shangyu Yuer has already left Wudong City? Through a few small details, Su Feng noticed some clues. If Shangyu Yuer really left Wudong City, then the mysterious old man would definitely escort her. That is to say, the only person from the Shangyu family left in Wudong City is likely Kai Deng. And Su Feng's main enemy at the moment was 100 Herbs Hall. This is truly favorable news. However, further confirmation is needed. Su Feng's lips curved into a faint smile, leisurely accumulating cultivation points, while constantly monitoring the movements in Quanting Courtyard. At the same time, the one-click insight function activated, and Luo Kai and Kai Deng's detailed information appeared before him. Name Kai Deng. Aptitude, medium-grade aptitude. Realm rank, Advanced Warrior. Attack rank, Advanced Warrior Plus. Defense rank, Advanced Warrior. Movement technique rank, Advanced Warrior Plus. Endurance rank, Advanced Warrior. Soul rank, Mortal Soul. Main cultivation method, reverting to origin Great Cycle Art, Advanced. Supplementary cultivation method, Golden Tiger Body Forging Art, Intermediate Minor Achievement. Martial Arts Techniques, Ghost Wind Blade Art, Intermediate Minor Achievement. Rain Flower Footwork, Mortal Rank, Major Achievement. Door Breaking Fist, Mortal Rank, Major Achievement. Main Equipment, White Wave Blade, Intermediate, Top Grade. Looking at Luo Kai's information, he was an intermediate martial master with average combat power. proficient in the willow wind sword art. At my current cultivation speed, I'll be able to kill Kai Deng in a few more days. Su Feng narrowed his eyes. Intermediate martial master Luo Kai. Perhaps I can also fight him. At this moment, Luo Kai and Kai Deng walked into a pavilion in the courtyard, sat opposite each other, and began to talk. From Su Feng's angle, his gaze happened to fall directly on Luo Kai's face. Immediately after, "Brother Kai, your humble brother truly yearns for a great city like Flying Cloud City. I wonder if I will ever be able to visit Flying Cloud City in my lifetime and pay my respects to the Shangyuan family." Luo Kai lit the small red clay stove on the table, placed a purple clay pot full of spring water on it, his face filled with yearning. And Su Feng actually understood these 3 sentences. What the hell? Am I mastering lip reading? Holy crap. As expected of the system, the language and text comprehension function can be used like this too. Su Feng looked surprised, only feeling that the surprise came too suddenly. In this way, he could clearly see every word Luo Kai said and obtain more information. In Quanting Courtyard below, Kai Deng replied to Luo Kai's words, and it was Luo Kai's turn to speak again. When we see young Miss Shangyuan again, she will probably have cultivated to the martial spirit realm. Luo Kai laughed heartily. We ordinary people cannot compare to a prodigy like young Miss Shangyuan. Su Feng's eyes lit up as he understood this sentence. HMPH. Shangyuan Yuer has indeed left. Su Feng's eyebrow twitched, and then he continued to monitor Luo Kai and Kai Deng. Luo Kai and Kai Deng continued chatting, waiting for their subordinates to bring them good news. But they had no idea that Ma Chang was already dead, and even there every word and action had fallen into Su Feng's eyes. Time slowly passed. In the blink of an eye, a whole morning had gone by. Su Feng hadn't gained any valuable information. However, he was in a very good mood, because the cultivation pool was about to be refilled. Ding! The cultivation pool is full. Would you like to break through? The system's prompt echoed in his mind. Break through immediately. Su Feng's face broke into an incredibly bright smile as he directly issued the command. Ding! Beginning breakthrough. As soon as the system's prompt finished, a large amount of cultivation points surged into Su Feng's body. For a martial artist to break through from the martial apprentice realm to the martial artist realm, he needs to condense a spiritual chi vortex in his danshan. With the spiritual chi vortex as the core, he circulates spiritual chi throughout his body, greatly enhancing his physical body's strength, and can even project it outwards to harm enemies. At this very moment, a large number of cultivation points surged into Su Feng's danshan, gradually forming a small golden vortex. Immediately after, strands of spiritual chi spread out from the vortex, following the meridians throughout his body. When the spiritual chi completely filled his entire body, a very faint breakthrough fluctuation occurred, and Su Feng officially break through into the elementary martial artist realm. The martial artist realm. Su Feng felt streams of active spiritual chi circulating within his body, continuously nourishing his physical body. His physical body's strength instantly increased significantly, and his sensory abilities were also greatly enhanced, making him even more sharp-eared and clear-sighted. Most importantly, he could now project spiritual chi outwards. Not only could he harm people from a short distance without touching them, but he could also attach it to weapons, increasing their attack power. Additionally, having breakthrough to the elementary martial artist realm, Su Feng felt that his speed of absorbing spiritual chi had also increased significantly. Basic cultivation speed has increased. Su Feng licked his lips excitedly. 1 day of my cultivation is equivalent to 960 days of cultivation for a high-grade aptitude martial artist of the same level. He couldn't help but look at the cultivation pool again. He saw golden specks of light constantly appearing, incredibly dazzling. Looking at the martial arts training pool, it was already half filled with white light, and he would definitely achieve mastery before tonight. Cultivation and martial arts training are completely automated, No need to manage them at all. Su Feng was overjoyed, the light in his eyes as bright as small light bulbs. This feeling is simply too wonderful. Just then, Su Feng suddenly felt a movement from Ma Chang's communication jade slip. Hee, after waiting all morning, you finally can't sit still. Su Feng grinned, looking towards Quanting Courtyard, and indeed found Luo Kai and Kai Deng frowning tightly, their faces impatient. He took out Ma Chang's communication jade slip and saw it was full of angry accusations. Ma Chang, you good-for-nothing. Why haven't you caught him yet? Didn't you say you had already found traces of the escapee? I even sent people from the secondary outpost to help you, and you still haven't caught him. Are you trying to die? You son of a bitch, Ma Chang, I had such high hopes for you. And you can't even handle such a small matter. If there's no good news within half an hour, I'll take care of your wife and children. Poor Ma Chang, even after dying, it's not over. He still has to have his family greeted by his boss. How miserable. Tusk, you're so angry and I'm so happy. You didn't expect it, did you? I, whom you're desperately hunting, am leisurely watching you from upstairs. Su Feng looked at the anxious and furious Luo Kai and Kai Deng below, feeling extremely pleased. However, he also understood. Luo Kai would probably soon learn of the deaths of Ma Chang and the others, because Luo Kai had mobilized personnel from the secondary hunting outpost to surround and kill them. It wouldn't be long before these people discovered the bodies of Ma Chang and the others. Of course, he would drag it out as long as he could. Su Feng held the communication jade slip and wrote word by word. Hall Master, please calm your anger. We have already caught up to the killer and Su Feng. But during the battle, Su Feng unfortunately died, and the killer fought with all his might and fled to the west. We are currently pursuing him. After writing, Su Feng sent the message and then stood by the window, waiting for Luo Kai's facial expression display. Indeed, upon receiving the good news, Luo Kai's mood instantly changed from gloomy to clear. His furrowed brows relaxed, and his face was filled with a relaxed and refreshed smile. But immediately after, his face was filled with apology. His ability to manage his expressions was astonishing. Brother Kai, the killer has been found. It's a pity that Su Feng died in the battle. We didn't capture him alive. Luo Kai stood up, cupped his fists and apologized to Kai Deng. Sigh, those good-for-nothings. They're useless at everything except eating. Didn't capture him alive. A group of martial apprentices chasing a common person. And they couldn't capture him alive. Kai Deng's eyes widened. Blood vessels gradually filled his eyeballs, and he trembled with rage. His subordinates had died so tragically. He had to use all sorts of cruel tortures and personally torment Su Feng to death to vent his anger. But now that Su Feng actually died just like that. It's too easy for him. This is too easy for him. Kai Deng clenched his fists and abruptly stood up, pacing back and forth in the pavilion. Agitated and annoyed, constantly letting out low growls. He had no idea that his exaggerated expressions were also being enjoyed by Su Feng from the high building. Hehe. I just love seeing you guys so furious. Su Feng's lips curved into a smile, and he nodded repeatedly, extremely satisfied. Brother Kai, calm your anger. When those good-for-nothings return, I will surely punish them severely and make them kneel to apologize to Brother Kai. Also, I told them to bring Su Feng's body back. Once the killer is apprehended, they will bring him back too, and Brother Kai can deal with them as he wishes. Luo Kai, seeing Kai Deng on the verge of spitting blood from anger, immediately offered comfort, looking empathetic. Good. Tell them to bring Su Feng's body back. Kai Deng's steps halted, a cruel expression on his face. I will hack him into a bloody mess and feed him to the dogs. I will pass down the order right away. Luo Kai nodded solemnly, then immediately sent a message using a communication jade tablet. What the heck? You, Kai Deng, are truly cruel and perverted, not even sparing a corpse. Su Feng raised an eyebrow and chuckled. Too bad. You'll never get to vent your anger in this lifetime. Immediately after, upon receiving the news that Su Feng is dead and the killer is being pursued. Luo Kai quickly issued orders to his subordinates in the city, telling them not to waste energy searching everywhere. The people who went to intercept the killer at the level 2 hunting outpost in the forest also chased west, pursuing the killer, along with Ma Chang and others who were no longer alive. And this was exactly the result Su Feng wanted. He wouldn't shoot without a target. In Quanting Courtyard, Kai Deng and Luo Kai sat down again, chatting occasionally. Su Feng leisurely accumulated cultivation points and skill points, while continuing to monitor the two in Quanting Courtyard. At the same time, on the other side of Wudong City, in a large courtyard, a series of angry scoldings and screams could be heard. Dad, stop hitting me. You little brat, losing 1,000 gold coins just like that. I'll beat you to death today, you prodigal son. Mom, please talk to Dad. You dare to call me, I'll beat you to death too. Grandpa, save me, please save me. Beat this grandson to death for me. 1,000 gold coins. That's all the money our Chen family saved for 5 whole years. I know I was wrong. I'm going to die, I'm going to die. Keep hitting him. It turned out that the one being beaten was Chen Jian, who had lost 1,000 gold coins to Su Feng at the medicinal pill shop. Chen Jian had lost all face at the medicinal pill shop. After a period of being distraught, he could only return home trembling with fear. Immediately after, he was met with a storm of mixed beatings from his entire family. Woo. How was I supposed to know that person had so much money? That person was just wearing cheap clothes and was only a martial apprentice. I can guarantee he's definitely not from a rich family in the city. Grandpa, even though I lost money, I preserved our Chen family's reputation. Please show some mercy. I was wrong, I won't argue anymore. I'm going to go get that money back right now. Chen Jian lay in the center of the Chen family's living room, his buttocks already a bloody mess, letting out miserable screams, occasionally speaking incoherently. Get that money back. Are you out of your mind from that beating? Do you know that son of a B asterisk TCH or something? How are you going to get it back? Even if you did know him, what then? Can you go ask for it? What about our Chen family's reputation? Chen Jian's grandfather, the Chen family patriarch Chen Wenwu, gritted his teeth, his face filled with a look of disappointment. The other members of the Chen family were also furious. Besides their dissatisfaction with Chen Jian, there was naturally endless resentment towards Su Feng. However, they didn't know Su Feng at all, so even if they wanted to get the money back, they couldn't find him. Half of their anger was suppressed in their hearts, and the other half was vented on Chen Jian. And just then, Patriarch, someone outside wishes to see you. He said it concerns the 1,000 gold coins young master Chen Jian lost. A martial apprentice rushed in, from outside to the doorway, reporting breathlessly. Who is it? Chen Wenwu's expression shifted, revealing a hint of eagerness. Quick, have him come in. What? Chen Jian, however, was utterly bewildered, his head full of questions. But he felt that a turning point seemed to have arrived for him. After a dozen breaths, a servant brought in a middle-aged man from outside. This middle-aged man was an advanced martial apprentice. If Su Feng were to see him, he would surely find him familiar. Because when Su Feng and Chen Jian made their bet, this person was present. This humble one, Wang Gu, greets the Chen family patriarch. Greetings to all the sirs of the Chen family. And young master Chen Jian. The middle-aged man named Wang Gu bowed to the Chen family members with a fawning expression. It's you. Chen Jian also recognized the middle-aged man, a hint of surprise in his eyes. You were there, weren't you? Yes. Quick, tell us what method do you have? Chen Jian's father, Chen Yang, said eagerly. His son had lost all the Chen family's wealth, and he, as a father, was extremely anxious. It's like this. This humble one was present at young Master Chen's bet. Although the person who bet with the young master wore a veiled bamboo hat covering his face, However, when he turned his head once, I saw his face through a gap in the veil. Later, when he left, I secretly followed him for a distance and found that he entered Tingfeng Tower. Then this humble one asked an unsuspecting friend to help keep watch while this humble one immediately rushed over. We only need to continue monitoring and tracking him. Once he leaves Wudang City, we can make our move and kill him. Wang Gu's face showed a flattering smile and he spoke clearly. This way, we can not only get back the 1,000 gold coins, but also get our revenge, and even preserve the Chen family's reputation. As soon as these words were spoken, the eyes of the Chen family members all lit up. Good. What a brilliant plan to kill 3 birds with 1 stone. Chen Wenwu's gloomy expression relaxed. Wang Gu, what reward do you want? Money. Beautiful women. No. Wang Gu said with a solemn expression. This humble one hopes to join the Chen family and serve the Chen family. Good. I agree. Chen Wenwu nodded and said, from today onwards, you are a martial apprentice of my Chen family. And Chen Jian's attendant. This humble one thanks the patriarch. Thank you to all the sirs of the family. Wang Gu was truly overjoyed and immediately knelt on the ground, kowtowing to Chen Wenwu. Get up. There's no time to lose. If that person leaves Tingfeng Tower, he will be hard to find. Chen Wenwu stood with his hands behind his back, his expression stern. Chen Yang. Immediately have someone go with Wang Gu to monitor that person. Yes, father. Chen Yang's face revealed a killing intent. I guarantee I will kill that person and retrieve that money. Grandfather, father, I want to go too. Chen Jian suddenly looked up at Chen Wenwu and Chen Yang. I want to personally exact my revenge. You want to go? Chen Yang shook his head and said, you just finished receiving family punishment. So don't get involved. No. I can endure it. After all, it's just monitoring. Chen Jian gritted his teeth. His eyes filled with unwillingness and malicious hatred towards Su Feng. Since that's the case, you go too. Chen Wenwu glanced at Chen Jian, nodded. Vent your anger thoroughly, don't let it leave a shadow in your heart. Yes, Grandpa. Chen Jian gritted his teeth and climbed up from the ground, his whole body trembling. Wang Gu immediately stepped forward to support him. Next, Chen Jian, accompanied by Wang Gu and 2 family retainers, quickly rushed to the vicinity of Tingfeng Tower to monitor Su Feng's whereabouts. Su Feng, however, was unaware of this. He remained comfortably in his room, monitoring Luo Kai and the other person, occasionally checking the cultivation pool and martial arts training pool. Time flew by like a white colt streaking across a gap. Noon turned into afternoon, and the martial arts training pool was finally completely filled with white skill points. Ding! The martial arts training pool is full. Do you wish to raise the proficiency of Cyclone Edge Kill to entry level? It's finally full. System. Immediately raise the proficiency of Cyclone Edge Kill. Su Feng's eyes lit up, and he immediately issued the command. He had been waiting for this moment for too long. As the command was issued, the white glow in the martial arts training pool instantly disappeared, directly merging into Su Feng's body and mind. Ayo tilde awesome. Su Feng felt a warm current flow through his limbs, bones, and mind, integrating into him. Immediately after, he naturally mastered a large number of dagger assassination techniques. Moreover, his body's muscles automatically formed a memory, as if he had practiced for a very long time. Whoosh whoosh. Su Feng couldn't help but pull out his dagger, and with a casual flick, 3 streaks of dazzling white light appeared. Their speed was so fast that an ordinary person's naked eye could barely catch them. Most importantly, Su Feng could already accurately strike his targets. If it had been before, he couldn't even accurately chop a tree with an axe. This dagger is like an extension of my limb. How wonderful. Su Feng flipped his wrist, performed a blade flourish, and then stored the dagger into his storage space. Now he realized storage space was also extremely useful for fighting. It could not only hold various weapons, but also allow them to be pulled out instantly, catching the enemy off guard, attacking them unprepared. One moment of carelessness from the enemy and they would be finished. Tusk tusk. Am I walking down the path of an assassin now? Su Feng's mouth curved into a smile, and then he looked at the white space again. In the martial arts training pool, the little martial arts training figure continued to practice Cyclone Edge Kill. In the cultivation pool, the little cultivation figure was also rapidly operating its cultivation technique, converting cultivation points. However, after reaching the martial warrior level, the filling progress of the cultivation pool was significantly slower. In an hour, it had only filled 1/10. From elementary martial warrior to intermediate martial warrior takes 20 hours. This time is a bit long, and from intermediate to advanced, I'm afraid it will take even longer. Su Feng frowned slightly. It seems I still need to find a way to further upgrade the one-click cultivation function. The current one-click cultivation function has reached level 4, and to upgrade it further, it requires 10,000 gold coins. This was an absolutely enormous sum. Even a martial warrior family like the Chen family would need several generations working together for decades to accumulate it. 10,000 gold coins. This is going to be difficult. How can I quickly get 10,000 gold coins? Working is impossible. I wouldn't be able to get 10,000 gold coins even if I worked my whole life. Su Feng frowned, then his eyes suddenly lit up. 100 Herbs Hall operates a casino in the city. Isn't gambling the best way to get rich overnight or lose everything? Of course, Su Feng didn't want to lose everything. But with infinite storage space, isn't it easy to cheat in certain games? Su Feng first took a cup and coins, simulated a dice-rolling game, and found that he could completely cheat. While Luo Kai and the others are being led by the nose into a dead end by me. Before they realize what's happening, I can totally hit them with a wave of something. As soon as Su Feng thought of the chips on the gambling table, his eyes immediately shone brightly. Like two little stars. Time was precious, so he decided to act immediately. Su Feng temporarily turned off the one-click cultivation function, left Tingfeng Tower, and headed towards 100 Herbs Hall's casino. It's him. He appeared. He left Tingfeng Tower. Across from Tingfeng Tower, Wang Gu and Chen Jian, upon seeing Su Feng, instantly became as energized as if they'd been injected with chicken blood, their faces flushed redder than a monkey's backside. However, the two of them weren't fools. They didn't show themselves, but instead sent 2 house servants to follow him. Not long after, a house servant ran back, reporting that Su Feng had entered 100 Herbs Hall's casino. Didn't he go outside the city? Chen Jian was utterly disappointed. He had been eagerly anticipating Su Feng leaving the city. Then this subordinate will continue to monitor him. The house servant bowed and scraped, turning to leave. Wait. Chen Jian called out to the house servant, a hint of unwillingness surfacing in his heart. He had finally waited for his enemy. Was he just going to watch him walk by? Even glaring at him a few more times would be satisfying. 100 Herbs Hall's casino. That's one of the biggest casinos in Wudong City, and it has the most people. Even if we go in, he won't see us. And even if he does, he won't be suspicious. Who can't go to a casino to play? Chen Jian's eyes flickered, then he gritted his teeth and said, "Let's go. We're going to 100 Herbs Hall's casino too." How could Wang Gu and the others dare to say anything? They could only follow Chen Jian. On the other side, Su Feng had already entered 100 Herbs Hall's casino. The casino was enormous, packed with people, and the clamor was absolutely deafening. Doomster had been here before, so he was somewhat familiar with it. Su Feng entered through the main door and walked directly to the right, where there was a counter to exchange money and even borrow money. Yes, borrow money directly from the casino. Since I'm here to mess with 100 Herbs Hall, I naturally can't spend my own money. Su Feng thought to himself, a smile playing on his lips as he approached the counter. Lend me 200 gold coins. 200 gold coins. I'm sorry. We can't lend 200 here. The woman who greeted Su Feng was heavily made up. Seeing Su Feng in his cheap clothes, she felt a hint of disdain. Someone dressed like this, if he loses everything, can he really afford to pay back 200? Hello. The rule here is that a martial artist can borrow 200 gold coins. Su Feng sneered, "Do you dare to break the rules of this casino?" As he spoke, he released the spiritual chi fluctuations from his body. When a martial artist cultivates to the martial artist level, they will inadvertently emit some spiritual chi fluctuations, and they can also actively release them to demonstrate their strength. At this moment, Su Feng actively displayed his spiritual chi fluctuations, and even the most obtuse woman understood that Su Feng was a martial artist. Not only the heavily made-up woman, but the surrounding gamblers and staff all put down what they were doing and cast surprised and reverent glances at Su Feng. In Wudang City, a martial artist was already a person of considerable status. Apologies, apologies. It was this lowly one who was blind. This lowly one will process the paperwork for you immediately. The heavily made-up woman trembled, her face pale, and she immediately apologized to Su Feng and processed the paperwork. Soon, Su Feng obtained 200 gold coins. The heavily made-up woman also stayed by Su Feng's side, acting as an attendant, but in reality, she was afraid Su Feng would run off with the money. So she had to follow him throughout. "Sir," the heavily made-up woman asked, feigning weakness, "what would you like to play?" Hearing that affected voice, Su Feng almost wanted to vomit. Something simple, rolling dice to compare sizes. Su Feng frowned slightly. "You don't need to stick so close to me, I won't run away." Yes, yes. Yes. Dice rolling is over here, please follow me." The heavily made-up woman bowed and scraped as she led the way, inwardly seething with anger. "The dice rollers in our casino are all experts. When you lose so badly you're crawling. Let's see how arrogant you still are." Amidst the heavily made-up woman's silent curses, Su Feng arrived at the dice-rolling table. The game of dice here was very simple. Two people formed a group. They could choose to gamble with other gamblers or with the casino. Both players used identical dice and dice cups to roll the dice, and whoever had the higher number won. Unlike on Earth, the dice here were regular dodecahedrons, with numbers from 1 to 12 on each face. At this very moment, gamblers stood opposite each other along the long table. They held dice cups, rattling them, and every now and then, slammed the dice cup onto the table with a clang, opened it. And then a wail or a gasp would erupt. At the head of the table, on the far left, stood a man in a casino uniform. Occasionally, a look of disdain flashed in his eyes as he looked at the gamblers, as if he were looking at pigs. This person was Chu Yang, the dice expert stationed here by 100 Herbs Hall. Chu Yang was very idle now. No one at the entire table dared to gamble on dice with him, because those who dared had already lost even their underwear. But just then, "You're the one." A deep, magnetic, slightly hoarse and lazy voice reached Chu Yang's ears. He looked up and saw a person wearing a veiled bamboo hat and ordinary clothes pointing at him. Immediately after, the surrounding gamblers gathered, their faces full of excitement, ready to watch a good show. "Look, look! Someone actually dares to play dice with Chu Yang. Playing with Chu Yang, isn't that seeking death? No amount of money would be enough for him to lose." "Exactly. I once saw with my own eyes a merchant from out of town lose over 1,000 gold coins to him. Tusk, this guy looks mysterious. Maybe he has some skills. If he has some skills, Chu Yang has even more." The gamblers discussed animatedly, making Chu Yang understand what was happening. Someone was challenging him to a gamble, and the person who sought him out was, of course, Su Feng. Su Feng came here to target 100 Herbs Hall, so naturally he had to find someone from 100 Herbs Hall. Coincidentally, not long ago, Doomster, accompanied by Chai Jai and others, came to gamble with Shang Yuan Yuer's money. As a result, he lost a lot of gold coins to Chu Yang and finally left the casino in disgrace. Today, Su Feng sought him out, which was perfect for avenging that grudge. "Are you deaf or something?" Su Feng asked indifferently when he saw Chu Yang stunned. You want to gamble with me? Did you hear what those gamblers said? It's not too late to regret it now. Chu Yang didn't recognize Su Feng. His gaze turned cold, extremely displeased. Anyone who gambled with him was always on high alert. This person, however, looked indifferent. Who was he looking down on? A group of frogs in a well, seeing a patch of sky as big as the well's mouth. They believe the entire sky is only that large. Su Feng glanced at the gamblers with disdain. He truly looked down on these gambling addicts. HMPH. What big talk? Be careful not to bite your tongue talking so big. You talk as if you can stand shoulder to shoulder with the... Brothers, watch closely. He's incredibly arrogant now, but soon he won't even be able to cry. The surrounding gambling addicts were enraged by Su Feng's words, immediately filled with righteous indignation and a shared hatred. At this moment, the heavily made-up woman leaned into Chu Yang's ear and whispered, Brother Chu, that person is a warrior, please be careful. A warrior's? HMPH. So what if he's a warrior? Chu Yang glared at the heavily made-up woman. There have been at least over 100 warriors who have lost to me. So he's a warrior. Warriors have much better control over their strength. So what? When it comes to gambling skills, Brother Chu is still the best. Exactly, didn't Brother Chu say it? At least 100 warriors have lost to him. The surrounding gambling addicts listened to Chu Yang's words, fell silent for a moment, then began to whisper among themselves again, looking at Su Feng as if he were a silly deer. Since you all think I'm bound to lose, then why don't we all gamble together? Let's bet on my win or loss, winner takes all. Do you dare? A thought flashed through Su Feng's mind, and he said to the surrounding gambling addicts. Anyway, he wouldn't lose. The more people who gambled with him, the more he would win, and the faster he would win. Good. We'll gamble with you. Let's gamble, brothers, come on. It's time to carry sacks and pick up money. Some gamblers, provoked by anger, immediately agreed. They shouted and yelled, attracting more gamblers, and soon the area was packed. Chen Jian and others were also mixed in the crowd, looking at Su Feng, who was the center of attention, exchanging glances in astonishment. This guest, you are determined to gamble with me. Chu Yang looked at Su Feng, a cold sneer in his heart. You should know that once you're at the gambling table, there's no mercy. Please be mentally prepared. To deal with you, no preparation is needed. Su Feng was calm and steady as a mountain. HMPH arrogant. Chu Yang snorted coldly. Su Feng's arrogance had completely enraged him. He swore that today he would win all of Su Feng's underwear and make Su Feng borrow even more money, losing it all. Next, the casino quickly made preparations. The gambling table, dice, and dice cup for Su Feng and Chu Yang's gamble, as well as the game between Su Feng and the other gamblers, were all presided over by someone. After both parties confirmed that the gambling tools had no issues and verified that there was no possibility of cheating, a dice cup was placed between Su Feng and Chu Yang, and the atmosphere grew increasingly tense and excited. How much are we betting? Chu Yang looked at Su Feng and asked in a cold voice. Let's start with an appetizer, 200 gold coins. Su Feng calmly poured the gold coins onto the table. Money he had borrowed from 100 Herbs Hall's gambling house. You've got some nerve. Chu Yang sneered, and a nearby attendant brought 2 spirit coins, placing them on the table. Hurry and place your bets. I'm betting Brother Chu wins, 10 gold coins. Me too, I'm betting Brother Chu wins, 20 gold coins. Hey, you can't bet too little, or we won't have enough to split. The gamblers in a clamor placed their bets, then all stared at Su Feng, urging him to bet 300 gold coins. Su Feng glanced at the gamblers and calmly and composedly took 3 spirit coins from his system balance, placing them on the table. 300 gold coins. This person is truly foolish and rich. Haha, brothers. We're rich. When the gamblers saw the spirit coins Su Feng took out, their eyes immediately lit up, as if the spirit coins were already theirs. He has money. Then why did he borrow money from our casino? Could it be that he is truly confident he can win? This person is so arrogant. The heavily made-up woman was incredibly surprised to see Su Feng take out so many gold coins. But she still didn't believe Su Feng could win, because everyone who gambled with Chu Yang almost always lost. Clang, clang, clang. An attendant picked up a bell and shook it for a while, and everyone around them quieted down. "You're our guest, you go first." Chu Yang glanced at Su Feng, a hint of disdain in his words. "I'm worried I'll scare you away from gambling." Su Feng's tone was calm, "So you go first." "Arrogant. Today, I'll teach you a lesson." Chu Yang's voice was cold as he extended a hand and pressed it onto the dice cup. The gambling began. Clatter. Chu Yang pressed down on the dice cup, scooped up the dice, and quickly shook them. After a dozen breaths, clang, Chu Yang slammed the dice cup heavily onto the table and revealed its contents. 11 points. Haha, unless that guy rolls a 12, he's definitely going to lose. Those 300 gold coins are ours. Get ready to split the money. The gamblers shouted out the number Chu Yang had rolled, incredibly excited. 11 points was indeed a difficult number to roll. After all, those dice were dodecahedrons. "It's your turn." Chu Yang looked at Su Feng, his face full of disdain. Clatter. Su Feng said nothing, holding the dice cup and shaking it up, down, left, and right, then slamming it onto the table. And in that instant, Su Feng had already put the dice into his storage space, arranged the points, and then put them back into the dice cup. "Open it, open it." Amidst the crowd's cheers, the dice cup was opened. The dice points were revealed, and the entire room fell silent instantly. 12 points. Sorry, I won. A faint smile played on Su Feng's lips as he happily accepted Chu Yang's 2 spirit coins and the hundreds of gold coins the gamblers had. Bet. At this moment, everyone finally reacted, erupting in exclamations of disbelief. 12 points. He actually rolled 12 points. This beginner's luck is too strong. I lost 30 gold coins. The gamblers gasped, and those who had lost money wailed loudly. Chu Yang's face was ashen. He had never expected to lose at the very beginning. This was an absolute disgrace to him. "See, you're the one who needed to prepare yourself mentally." Su Feng's faint laughter reached Chu Yang's ears. "Take a break. Take a break before the next round." HMPH. You just got lucky. Chu Yang took a deep breath and picked up the dice cup again. "This round, we're betting 300 gold coins, and I will definitely win against you." Saying that, he had an attendant bring 3 spirit coins and place them on the gambling table. "All right." Su Feng moved his fingers, casually drawing out 3 spirit coins, looking very much like a gambling saint. "This time he's sure to lose. Bet more, we need to win back what we lost before. Hurry, hurry, place your bets. His bad luck is about to begin." The gamblers also discussed animatedly, starting to place their bets again. Clang, clang, clang. The attendant shook the bell, and the second round began. Chu Yang began frantically shaking the dice cup, slammed it onto the table, revealed it, 12 points. 12 points. This time we definitely won't lose, right? Brothers, prepare to split the money. The degenerate gamblers all let out excited shouts at this sight. Then the number Su Feng rolled made them even more excited. Because Su Feng only rolled 9 points. Indeed, his luck has run out. Quick, 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 split the money, ha-ha. So much money. The degenerate gamblers were incredibly excited, dividing up all the bets Su Feng had placed and showing disdain. Among the crowd, Chen Jian and the others sighed, regretting that they hadn't followed suit and placed bets. However, they had no idea that all of this was intentional on Su Feng's part. What was Su Feng's goal this time? It was to get at least 10,000 gold coins. If he kept winning, Chu Yang would definitely not dare to gamble after a few rounds. As the saying goes, winning the first hand is the beginning of a gambler's lifelong tragedy. So only by letting Chu Yang and the degenerate gamblers win once or twice, tasting the sweetness, would they continue to gamble. HMPH. I refuse to believe it. Su Feng put on a look of exasperation. This round, add one more die and bet 400 gold coins. All right, I'll play along. Chu Yang laughed heartily. In his opinion, Su Feng was no longer any threat. The attendant added a die that had been inspected by both parties, and Chu Yang began to shake it. Clatter, clatter, clatter. Bang! He revealed it, 21 points. With 2 dice, the maximum number is 24 points, and 21 points was already very, very high. Haha, we've won again. Time to split the money again. Our luck is really good today. If I met a few more fools like this, I'd be rich. The degenerate gamblers were incredibly excited, looking at Su Feng as if he were a plump, foolish roe deer. HMPH. A bunch of idiots. Su Feng sneered, grabbed the dice cup, shook it vigorously, and then slammed it onto the table. He revealed it, 2 11s for a total of 22 points. In an instant, the scene was so quiet that you could hear a pin drop. How is that possible? 22 points, how did he do that? Luck, this must be luck again. Otherwise, how could it be exactly 1 point more than Brother Chu? Oh my God! This fellow's terrible luck is truly heaven-defying. A moment later, the gamblers' incredulous exclamations and wails erupted. Chu Yang was also stunned. He had thought he was sure to win, but he hadn't expected to lose again. However, his mindset was much better this time, because he genuinely believed that Su Feng was relying entirely on luck. Winning once or twice occasionally was normal. And as long as they gambled for a long time, the other party would lose even his underwear. That was the principle that long-term gambling always leads to losses. I won. Su Feng feigned a surprised look, which only solidified Chu Yang's thoughts. But Chu Yang had no idea that Su Feng's surprise was fake, while his joy was real. In this round, Su Feng won 800 gold coins from Chu Yang and the gamblers, bringing his total to 1,600 gold coins. Chu Yang said with a smile, "Next, how much do you want to bet?" 500 gold coins. Su Feng waved his hand grandly, acting very extravagant. Good. Chu Yang agreed on the spot and placed a bet of 5 spirit coins. Seeing Chu Yang's confidence, the degenerate gamblers also placed their bets. This time, they actually pooled 1,000 gold coins, clearly intending to take all of Su Feng's money in one go. Chen Jian also couldn't hold back and sent a family servant back to the Chen family to get money. Holy crap! I originally planned to lose this time, but it seems I can't. If I lose this hand, I won't have the capital to continue gambling. Su Feng secretly pouted, but still decided to win this round. And so, the 4th round began. Chu Yang rolled 22 points, looking at Su Feng with a cold sneer. 22 points, that number was almost a guaranteed win, right? The gamblers likewise sneered repeatedly, their eyes gleaming, looking at Su Feng as if he were a fat lamb ready for slaughter. However, what happened next struck everyone like a bolt of lightning, leaving them dumbfounded. Clatter, clatter, clatter. Bang! Su Feng slammed the dice cup onto the table, revealed it, 23 points. This is impossible. My eyes must be broken. How could it be 23 points? How could this guy's luck be so heaven-defying? How is this possible? The gamblers wailed, completely unable to believe it was real. Chu Yang's face changed drastically, clearly never expecting to lose a sure-win situation. Moreover, from the beginning until now, he had already lost 3 rounds, a full 800 spirit coins. This was not a small sum. He would be held responsible, and the consequences would be very serious. You flatter me, you flatter me. Su Feng looked so excited he was trembling all over, taking all the bets for himself. His spirit coins already reaching 3,200. No, I must win the money back. Relying solely on luck will surely lead to losing in the long run. This guy absolutely won't win the next round. Chu Yang's mind raced, his heart began to beat faster, He hadn't felt this way in a long time. Immediately after, he took another deep breath and asked Su Feng, "Honored guest, how much do you want to bet next?" Su Feng feigned hesitation. "Let's bet 300. 200 spirit coins." This hesitant look immediately made him seem to lack confidence and have thoughts of retreating. My guess was right, he was still relying on luck just now. Chu Yang's eyes lit up instantly, his mind settled, and then he said with a smile, "Everyone only bets bigger, not smaller. 200 is too little." "Exactly, if we're going to bet. Let's bet big." Calls from the gamblers also came from the crowd, clearly. Many gamblers were unwilling to accept defeat and wanted to win back their money. "Then how much do you think is appropriate to bet?" Su Feng hesitated for a moment, his voice a little shaky. 1,000 spirit coins. Chu Yang gritted his teeth, these 4 words escaping his mouth. Immediately, the surrounding gamblers gasped in surprise. 1,000 spirit coins from one person. This was an absolute high-stakes gamble. 1,000 spirit coins. Su Feng looked down at the large pile of spirit coins in front of him and said coldly, "All right. Isn't it just 1,000 spirit coins? I'll bet, but add another dice." The more dice, the greater the element of luck. Chu Yang heard Su Feng's condition and was not worried, but rather pleased, because his gambling skills were absolutely solid. Betting 1,000 spirit coins. I've never experienced such a big gamble before. Place your bets, place your bets. Brother Chu will surely win. I'll bet my half-lifetime savings again. Right, place your bets. That kid clearly wants to win by luck, how laughable. Place your bets, bet up to 2,000 spirit coins. Make him spit out all his money in one go. The surrounding rotten gamblers' eyes were already red, with an almost absolute winning chance. Their already severe gambling addiction made them unable to extricate themselves. Chen Jian and others were anxious in the crowd. His family hadn't sent money yet. Not participating in such a gamble was simply throwing money away for nothing. "Hello. You have guts, come on." Chu Yang laughed heartily, his face flushed, looking a bit carried away. Clang, clang, clang. The attendant rang the bell, and the 5th round began. 6 dice, a maximum of 36 points. Chu Yang rolled 33 points. This. Su Feng trembled all over, his fingers shaking, looking very desperate. "Please." Chu Yang personally handed the dice and dice cup to Su Feng, the smile on his face almost reaching his ears. "Alas." Su Feng sighed resignedly, then casually shook the dice very perfunctorily before letting go. "I'll open it for you." Chu Yang laughed heartily, opening the dice cup while saying with a smile, "Oh, it's all right. Just win it back next round." However, he suddenly noticed that the entire casino was silent, not a sound. Each gambler was dumbfounded, their mouths wide enough to fit a fist. "What's going on?" Chu Yang felt a great sense of foreboding, as if a huge danger sign was hanging over his head. Immediately after, 35 points. Su Feng suddenly stood up, laughing up at the sky, looking so surprised he was about to faint. This acting, it completely outshone young idols. 35 points. Oh my God, 35 points. What heaven-defying luck is this? He must have used up all his good fortune for a lifetime. My money. This money is what I got from selling my house. I regret it so much. The gamblers beat their chests and stomped their feet, howling endlessly, many with tears and snot streaking their faces. How is this possible? Brother Chu reacted, suddenly stood up and clearly saw the dice. Then he sat back down on the chair with a dull thud. Disbelief, shock, and feelings of fear and despair appeared in his heart. He lost. He lost another 1,000 gold coins, adding up to 1,800 gold coins already. These gold coins were from 100 Herbs Hall's casino, not his own money. Brother Chu had no idea how he should explain this to his superiors, and he couldn't even imagine the punishment he would face. "Excuse me, I won." Su Feng burst out laughing, then took Brother Chu's 1,000 gold coins and the 2,000 gold coins from the desperate gamblers. By now, he had already won nearly 6,000 gold coins. After collecting the money, Su Feng immediately had the casino staff exchange it for spirit coins, pretending he wanted to leave. This kid doesn't dare to gamble anymore. This kid has no gambling ethics at all. He wins and then tries to run. No, we can't let him leave just like that. Stop him, quickly stop him. When the desperate gamblers saw Su Feng trying to run, they instantly gnashed their teeth in hatred and swarmed forward, surrounding Su Feng so tightly that not even a drop of water could get through. Although the casino rules stated that everything was voluntary, and they couldn't interfere if Su Feng didn't want to continue gambling. But this time they had lost too much money, and they simply couldn't accept this outcome. Chen Jian and others stood in the crowd, feeling immensely relieved. Their families had just sent money, but they hadn't had time to place their bets yet, thus escaping a disaster. Suddenly, honored guest, wait a moment. Brother Chu's hoarse voice came, as if his vocal cords had been torn. What? You won't let me leave. You only allow your casino to win gamblers' money, but not gamblers to win the casino's money. Is that it? Su Feng stared at Brother Chu, his voice cold. If you do this, how will you do business in the future? No, it's not that I won't let you leave. Our 100 Herbs Hall casino's rules have never been broken, and we would never ruin our own reputation. Brother Chu's eyes were bloodshot and extremely red. I just want to gamble one last round with you, just one round. He was truly unwilling. Whether it was this greatest failure in his life, or the severe consequences of losing so much money, he couldn't accept it. And in the previous round, Su Feng clearly won by luck. So Brother Chu wanted to gamble one more round, to win back everything in one go, reputation and money. He wanted it all back. Right. One more round. One more round. The last round, win or lose, it's on us. And no one can make any more demands after this. The desperate gamblers surrounded Su Feng, cheering him on, their red eyes having lost most of their reason. Like Brother Chu, they were completely controlled by the gambler's mentality. You guys, fine, I'll gamble. Su Feng pretended to grit his teeth, but for this round, add one more dice. Good. Brother Chu's face brightened. Like someone brought back from the dead, this round. We'll bet 3,000 gold coins. 3,000 gold coins. The heavily made-up woman opened her mouth wide, her throat visible. Brother Chu. The bell-ringing attendant also exclaimed in horror. This is the maximum limit you can use once you lose. I won't lose. We'll bet 3,000. Brother Chu had clearly thrown caution to the wind, his eyes fixed on Su Feng. 3,000 gold coins. Su Feng feigned extreme shock and an inability to accept the situation. 3,000, 3,000. 3,000. Just bet 3,000 gold coins, hurry. Help the honored guest place his bet. Some crazed gamblers cheered, pushing and shoving Su Feng, squeezing him to the edge of the table, and 30 spirit coins were also placed on the gambling table. In fact, with Su Feng's strength, he could easily push these people away. But he didn't, because this was exactly what he wanted. After all, if he, reluctantly, won the money, no one could say much. Place your bets. With a mad dog-like shout, Brother Chu's bet was also placed on the table. The gamblers also began to place their bets continuously, and in a short time, the table was piled with bets worth over 10,000 gold coins. How much did we bet? Amidst the crowd, Chen Jian asked excitedly. 300 gold coins. Wang Gu's breathing was rapid, as if he were suffocating. All the money we brought. We bet it all. That's not bad. We can net 200 or 300 gold coins. Chen Jian's face was flushed with excitement. Ha ha ha. Earning money from that bastard, it's truly satisfying. Immediately after, he looked towards the center of the crowd. This terrifying high-stakes gamble was ready to begin. On either side of the gambling table, Su Feng and Chu Yang stood facing each other, with 4 dice and a dice cup placed in the middle. Not only had Su Feng and Chu Yang inspected the gambling tools, but the gamblers also checked them one by one. Clang, clang, clang. As the attendant rang the bell, the sixth round began. With 4 dice, I can definitely roll over 45 points. Chu Yang took a deep breath, then grabbed the dice cup and began to shake it. Rattle, rattle. The 4 dice collided, spun, and rolled inside the cup, numbers flashing by continuously. This time he shook it for a full 3 minutes, using all his strength to shake, feel, and listen, determined to roll the highest possible score. At the same time, this could also put immense psychological pressure on his opponent. Following this, under everyone's gaze, Chu Yang slammed the dice cup down onto the table with a bang. With trembling hands, he lifted the dice cup. 1 12, 2 12s, 3 12s, and an 11, a total of 47 points. The desperate gamblers reported the numbers one after another, incredibly excited, feeling that this round was completely secure. Excellent. Now I can not only salvage my reputation, but also earn over 1,000 gold coins and avoid punishment from the hall. Chu Yang also let out a big sigh of relief. He was very satisfied with this score. And if Su Feng wanted to win against him, he would have to roll 4 12s, a probability of less than 1 in 20,000. It could be said that this time, he was truly guaranteed to win. It's your turn. Our esteemed grand gambler, roll the dice. Hurry up, don't just stand there, roll the dice. Are you scared? The surrounding desperate gamblers urged Su Feng. Don't push me. Su Feng snorted coldly, and his spiritual chi fluctuations spread out. Immediately, the martial apprentices felt a powerful spiritual pressure, their chests tightening instantly, and they shut their mouths. What? He's actually a martial apprentice. Chen Jian was incredibly surprised. He had always thought the other party was just a martial apprentice. At this moment, this is a casino, not a battlefield. A martial apprentice who had placed a heavy bet said coldly, Your Excellency, don't drag this out. Just roll the dice. The surrounding casino staff also gathered, watching Su Feng intently. HMPH. So what if I lose to you all? A true man can lose 1,000 gold coins and get them back. What's there to be afraid of? Su Feng snorted, grabbed the dice cup with one hand and began to shake it vigorously. He shook it for a full 5 minutes, and because he was acting so hard, the knuckles of the hand gripping the dice cup turned white. Shaking it longer won't help, hurry up. The surrounding gamblers scoffed disdainfully. Bang! Su Feng finally slammed the dice cup onto the table, then immediately lifted it. In an instant, everyone's expressions froze, all sounds vanished, and all bodies became rigid. It was as if time had stopped. Immediately after, like a stone dropped into a still body of water, the scene in the gambling house became lively again, and everyone became even more boisterous. What? 4 12s? Oh my God, 48 points, it's 48 points. I can't take it anymore. It's over, now all the money from my first half of life, and my second half of life is gone. What am I going to do? With sounds of thudding, one desperate gambler after another fell straight down. Chen Jian and the others' eyes were about to pop out, completely unable to believe the scene before them. He was truly in pain. After those 1,000 gold coins, he had actually given another 300 gold coins to Su Feng. He would probably face family punishment again when he went back. No, this isn't real. How could I possibly lose? How could he roll 48 points? Chu Yang, who was gambling against Su Feng, slumped in his chair, his eyes vacant and trembling uncontrollably, as if he had fallen ill. He lost. He had completely lost. The loss of 4,800 gold coins was enough to make him die in agony 10 times over. It's all fate, it's all fate. Heaven wants me to win, so I can't lose no matter what. I'm so sorry. Su Feng burst out laughing, then stuffed all the spirit coins into his collar and wrapped the gold coins in the clothes he had taken off. Soon he had packed all the money and placed the 200 gold coins borrowed from 100 Herbs Hall on the table. Immediately after, thank you for the game, thank you. Su Feng bowed to the gamblers while quickly heading out. The gamblers seemed to have had all their strength drained, unable to stop him. The few people who hadn't placed bets and the casino staff hesitated, as Su Feng had been forced into this gamble. If they stopped him under these circumstances, the casino's reputation would be ruined. However, not being able to intercept didn't mean they couldn't follow. Some with ulterior motives immediately secretly followed Su Feng out of the gambling house. Chen Jian's retainers were among them. What the heck, they're tracking me. Su Feng's eyes turned cold, then he quickly rushed into the crowd. He was now at the martial artist level, and his full speed was faster than a leopard. Chen Jian's retainers immediately lost him, with only a few martial artists still able to see Su Feng's back. However, when these martial artists came to their senses and quickly gave chase, they saw Su Feng had already turned into a roadside alley. They quickly pursued him. As they entered the alley, they brushed past a young, handsome martial artist from 100 Herbs Hall who looked surprised. No one realized that this 100 Herbs Hall martial artist was the very target they were desperately searching for. It turned out that after Su Feng turned into the alley, he immediately threw the large bag of money and his bamboo hat into his storage space, and took out the 100 Herbs Hall hunting group's clothes to put on. In just 1 second, he had completed his disguise, and in the eyes of the pursuers, the person who fled, carrying a large bag of gold coins and wearing a bamboo hat, had absolutely nothing to do with a 100 Herbs Hall martial artist. Therefore, they had no suspicions and continued to pursue deeper into the alley. Tusk, a bunch of idiots. Su Feng's lips curved into a faint, shallow smile. Following that, he completely blended into the crowd, like a drop of water entering a great river. At the same time, in Quanting Courtyard, useless. Luo Kai suddenly stood up, clenching his fists and letting out a low growl, the anger within him impossible to conceal. Brother Luo, what happened? Kai Deng looked astonished just now. Luo Kai had glanced at a communication jade slip and suddenly erupted in rage, leaving him completely bewildered. Family shame should not be aired, but since it's brother Kai. My subordinate at the casino actually lost nearly 5,000 gold coins for me. This is half a year's net profit for my casino, and a large portion of it is meant as tribute to the city lord's mansion. Luo Kai was furious, veins bulging on his forehead, almost turning purple. What? 5,000 gold coins, that's no small sum. Kai Deng was dumbfounded. What about the person who won the money? What's his background to be so arrogant as to cause trouble in Brother Luo's casino? I don't know. I only know he's a martial artist. Originally, that martial artist won over 1,000 gold coins from my casino and was preparing to leave. But that useless subordinate in my casino insisted on gambling one last round with him and ended up losing 3,000 gold coins directly. Now that martial artist has left the casino, and the casino has sent people to track him. That martial artist ran off after winning money, so he shouldn't have any powerful backing. After I catch him, I'll definitely tear him to shreds. And that useless subordinate, he will be executed by torture right now. Luo Kai gritted his teeth, his face contorted in a ferocious expression, almost spitting blood from anger. Brother Luo, calm your anger. Kai Deng immediately comforted him. Life Qi is not good for your health. This matter will soon have a satisfactory outcome for Brother Luo. Thank you, Brother Kai. Luo Kai's chest heaved, and he took several deep breaths, barely managing to suppress the anger in his heart. On the other side, Su Feng, having blended into the crowd, bought some new clothes, a bamboo hat, and even a mask. After finding a place to put them on, he once again became an inscrutable, mysterious person. Immediately after, Su Feng quickly rushed towards Tingfeng Inn. Luo Kai and Kai Deng had been out of his sight for some time, so he had to hurry back to continue monitoring them. Of course, Su Feng hadn't forgotten the huge sum of over 10,000 he had just acquired, nor had he forgotten his fundamental goal: upgrading the system, cultivating to a higher realm faster, and gaining stronger power to deal with the crisis from 100 Herbs Hall. System, immediately deposit all the money in the storage space into the balance. As he walked with light steps, Su Feng gave the command with great excitement. Ding! Storage complete. Balance 11,662 gold coins. So much. Quick! Upgrade the one-click cultivation function and the one-key martial arts training function. Su Feng's eyes gleamed with excitement. Like he had eaten Mentos, his laughter simply wouldn't stop. Ding! Consumed 10,000 gold coins. The one-click cultivation function has been upgraded to level 5. Current cultivate speed is 32 times the base cultivate speed. Ding! Congratulations on upgrading the one-click cultivation function to level 5. You have acquired the branch function, rate multiplier. Current cultivate speed has increased to 64 times the base cultivate speed. Ding! Consumed 1,000 gold coins. The one-key martial arts training function has been upgraded to level 4. Current martial arts training speed is 16 times the base speed. Ding! Congratulations on upgrading the one-key martial arts training function to level 4. You have gained the unlock permission for the brand new main functions, one-key clone function. It can be unlocked by consuming 1,000 gold coins. The system prompts rang out one after another, and Su Feng grew more and more excited with each one. Branch function rate multiplier, and a brand new main functions, one-key clone function unlock permission. Holy crap, it costs 1,000 gold coins to unlock. This function is definitely heaven-defying. It's a shame I'm short a few hundred gold coins right now. Otherwise, I could activate it immediately. Su Feng's eyes flickered with an incomparably moved light. But he still planned to go back first to see if Luo Kai and the other had made any unusual moves, then figure out how to get money. After all, a few hundred gold coins was not a small sum, and it wouldn't be easy to obtain in a short amount of time. While quickening his pace, Su Feng observed the cultivate pool and martial arts training pool in the white space. The one-click cultivation function was temporarily closed, so he couldn't yet feel the new changes. But he knew without thinking that a fourfold increase in cultivate speed would definitely have a heaven-defying effect. And the one-key martial arts training function had been on all along. Closing his eyes, he could see the skill points continuously gushing out from the martial arts training pool. I estimate that by the end of today, Cyclone Edge Kill will reach minor achievement level. Su Feng's lips curved into a delighted smile, and then he sped up, heading towards Tingfeng Inn. He not only had to immediately go back to monitor Luo Kai and the other, but also had to activate the one-click cultivation function as soon as possible. Otherwise, wasting even a minute would be a huge loss. At the same time, inside the 100 Herbs Hall Casino, he must be a master. When I gambled against him, I fell completely into his trap. Heh, I'm so ridiculous, always thinking others are prey, not realizing I was the prey myself. Chu Yang slumped in a chair, his breathing faint, his face filled with death chi. In endless regret and fear, he finally sobered up a little, but it was too late. Brother Chu, the hall master wants to see you. I'm sorry. Two attendants helped Chu Yang up and dragged him away from the gambling table. Among the crowd, what do we do? Lost another 300 gold coins, what do we do? This money, I only got it after promising Grandpa I could win. You two good-for-nothings, you can't do anything right. You even lost track of the person you were chasing. It's over, it's over. This time when we go back, we'll definitely be beaten so badly we won't be able to get out of bed for months. Chen Jian stood there, his face ashen, swaying. If his family servants hadn't been supporting him, he wouldn't have been able to stand steady at all. The two family servants also looked despairing, dazed, and confused. Young Master Chen had lost another 300 gold coins, and they were also responsible for failing to supervise him properly. It was even possible they would be beaten to death. Just then, "Young Master, don't worry." Wang Gu leaned over and said mysteriously, "This servant still has a solution." "What solution? Quick, tell me." When Chen Jian heard Wang Gu's words, he immediately became excited, as if he had grasped a life-saving straw. Young master, don't get excited. This matter cannot be publicized. Wang Gu looked left and right, and only breathed a sigh of relief when he found no one was paying attention to them. Let's go, we'll talk outside. Good. Go, hurry up and go. You two good-for-nothings, support me steadily. My legs are weak. Chen Jian slapped the two equally weak-legged family servants hard, and the few of them went outside the casino together. Wang Gu, tell me quickly, what solution do you have? As the crowd thinned, Chen Jian immediately asked impatiently. Good, I'll tell you right now. Wang Gu nodded solemnly. Chen Jian and his two servants immediately held their breath and perked up their ears. Young master, you see, isn't the person who won your money staying at Tingfeng Inn. He has escaped capture for now, but it's very likely he will return to Tingfeng Inn. We can absolutely continue with our previous plan, monitor him outside Tingfeng Tower, and once he leaves the city, we'll finish him off. Wang Gu leaned close to Chen Jian's ear, lowered his voice, and quickly finished speaking. That's right. How could I not have thought of that? Wang Gu, you're truly something. Chen Jian's eyes lit up immediately after hearing Wang Gu's words. But, besides us, there are others chasing that martial artist. A servant questioned, if he manages to escape, he will definitely change into a different disguise. We won't recognize him at all. That's right. The light in Chen Jian's eyes dimmed. If that person changes his attire, wouldn't all our efforts be in vain? Don't worry, young master. Wang Gu revealed a confident smile. I have a sharp eye for recognizing people. I'm already very familiar with that person's height, build, posture, and habits. I guarantee I can recognize him. So that's how it is. The servant continued to question. But what if he was caught by those martial artists and couldn't escape? HMPH. If that person is smart enough after being surrounded, he'll surely create a huge commotion, announcing that he won money at 100 Herbs Hall and is being hunted down. Wang Gu looked at the servant and sneered. We'll just send someone to keep an eye out. Brilliant. Truly brilliant. Wang Gu, from now on, you are my chief personal attendant. Where I am, you shall be. After the plan succeeds, you, the great hero, will not be without reward. I'll make the decision to reward you with 100 gold coins first. Chen Jian felt hope again, and his face immediately lit up with joy. Thank you for the promotion, young master. Wang Gu smiled obsequiously. This humble one will definitely continue to work hard and serve young master. Immediately after, one of the four separated to keep an eye out for any major commotion. Chen Jian then took Wang Gu and the other servant and rushed to the opposite side of Tingfeng Tower at the fastest speed. After a short wait, a tall man wearing a black hooded robe and a black veiled bamboo hat covering his face came into view. That's him. Wang Gu's eyes lit up as he said to the extremely anxious Chen Jian. Are you sure? Chen Jian trembled all over, overjoyed. Sure. 100% sure. Wang Gu patted his chest and said, If I'm wrong, young master, you can chop off my head. With those words, I'm relieved. I'll call my father over now to keep watch together. As long as we can kill that person, we'll not only get our money back, but also make a net profit of over 10,000 gold coins. Chen Jian breathed a huge sigh of relief. As long as they could monitor the target, with the Chen family's strength, they would surely find an opportunity to kill him. Wang Gu had indeed not made a mistake. The person wearing a black cloak and a black bamboo hat, with his face covered, was Su Feng. Finally here. Hurry upstairs. I hope Luo Kai and Kai Deng haven't discovered the news of Ma Chang and the others' deaths yet. Su Feng muttered to himself, quickly went upstairs, entered the room, and locked the door. System, activate the one-click cultivation function. Walking towards the window, Su Feng issued the command. Ding! One-click cultivation function activated. As the system prompt appeared, the cultivation figure immediately began to circulate the cultivation technique. Whoosh! A large amount of spiritual qi surged in, rapidly pouring into the cultivation pool and transforming into cultivation points. 64 times the base speed. 3,840 times the speed of a high-grade aptitude martial artist of the same level. With such cultivation speed, I will definitely break through again tonight. Su Feng's lips curled into a smile, and he had already reached the window.